It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Gary Rivlin is here, author of AI Valley, Victoria's Song from The Verge, Devendra Hardawar from Engadget. Lots to talk about, including the new social network for AI bots. Yes, it's getting a little bit weird. SpaceX wants to put 1 million satellites into orbit. Will the FCC let them? And shame on Tim Cook. All that and more coming up next on Twit.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twit, This Week in Tech, episode 1069, recorded Sunday, February 1st, 2026. In my head, I have 3 buckets. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show where we cover the week's tech news with a panel of brilliant experts. Joining me right now, Gary Rivlin, Pulitzer Prize-winning author. His latest, AI Valley, Microsoft, Google, and the $1 trillion race to cash in on artificial intelligence. Hi, Gary.
Hey, great to be here.
You published this book when?
Last March, almost a year.
Things have changed a little.
Actually, it was such a burn because I sent it to the publisher, the final. I think like 3 days later, DeepSeek came out.
Crap.
Changed things some, but
crap.
Oh well. AI. Okay. So I ran around every copy, just kind of like, added my little addendum, But.
It's always been handwritten in. It's always been the issue, of course, with technology books is they age, but nothing ages faster than AI now. This stuff is changing daily. Mm-hmm. That's Devendra Hardawar, who also covers these topics and many more, senior editor at Engadget. Hey, Devendra.
Hello. I don't do AI as much, but I certainly yell about AI, and I'm afraid.
Do you play with it?
So, yeah. I do play with it, but the cloud stuff.
That's a leading question. I'm sorry. Do you play with AI?
I play with AI.
Privately or in public?
I play with it all the time myself. Yeah.
It's I am definitely I think a lot more skeptical than a lot of people, but it's interesting to see what we're going to be talking about, like Moltbook and everything is kind of
there's a huge amount of skepticism and no doubt justified. I think Victoria's Song's also a little skeptical. She's a senior reviewer at The Verge. Hi, Victoria.
Hi. Most of my job involves delving the cursed depths of AI, not the cool stuff or the useful stuff, the brain-breaking stuff. So that probably colors my opinion just a smidge. No one wants to be
Did you say delve? Did you use the word delve? Are you real? Are you a human?
Yeah, I use the word delve. Yeah.
You probably also use M dashes, don't you?
You know what? You can pry the M dash from my cold dead hands.
Love a good M dash. Yeah.
All the writers, and all 3 of you are writers, all the writers say, what's wrong with the M dash? We've used that forever.
No, I've been using the M dash forever.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I guess I've been a bot for longer than I actually realized. But
Strunk and White, the elements of style. I don't know if it's E.B. White or Strunk, but they say use the M dash. It's a strong way to do parenthetical stuff. It's strong.
The only reason AI uses the M dash is because it's scraped all of our work and learned that real writers love M dashes.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
It's red, Strunk, and White.
It has red. Well, undoubtedly it's red, Strunk, and White. And if it was Anthropic's copy, it's been destroyed since. That's irked a bunch of people. We found out this week that Anthropic's been destroying the books as it reads them in. I guess that's more of a copyright, trying to be good about copyright thing than anything else. It got in trouble for not buying and destroying the books. It got in trouble for using pirate libraries. In fact, it had to pay a
3 of my books are in that. I'm really looking forward to those checks.
Did you ask for the money? Did you fill out the form?
Yes.
I think all of my books are in there too. And it's what, $3,000 a book?
Yeah. Yes. Roughly. Yeah.
Something like that. But I
mean, if you're going to steal my stuff, pay me for it. I don't mind. You can steal my stuff as long as you pay me.
I kind of was happy that no one's reading my books. It's kind of happy that they're in there in the database. I was really conflicted about getting the money. Somebody said, get it and just donate it to a charity or something. But I never got around to it. You filled it out too, Devendra?
I have no books. I have no time for books. My time is spent with podcasts and writing and watching too many movies. That's me.
Yeah, well, I stopped writing books as soon as I learned there was no money in books. I stopped.
That too.
Really?
So, Gary, you're different. You're a Pulitzer Prize winner. You're different.
I make more money ghosting books for other people than I do on my own. Yeah,
that's the real money.
Also, a good skill. Yeah.
It's fun. Actually,
I didn't know you did that. We'll have to talk about that sometime. Maybe off the air. People are very sensitive about that. Well, this was the week. Okay, first of all, I should probably say, just to make this clear, that we do a show on AI called Intelligent Machines every Wednesday. I am seen as the accelerationist on the panel. I really like AI, and I've been singing the praises of Claude Code since November when it really got smart and using it. I've done 4 or 5 projects with Claude Code that I'm very happy with, including a lot of the program flow for this show. So I like it. And then everybody started talking about this Claudebot, CLAWDBOT, claw as in lobster claw. In fact, that's the logo. And Claudebot's slogan was something like, put lotion on your scaly skin or something. I can't remember exactly. But then Anthropic complained to the creator of it, Peter Steinberger, who's I think an Austrian.
Yes.
And said, that is they weren't mean about it, but he changed it to Moltbot. He says at a 5 a.m. Discord frenzy, we decided to call it Moltbot because it's a lobster molting its skin. That did not catch on. He is settled now on OpenClaw, which I don't think Anthropic's going to have a problem with OpenClaw. But what this is kind of interesting. It uses any AI model, although I think a lot of us are using Claude for it, Anthropic's Claude, because it seems to be very, very smart. And it becomes a personal assistant there's one guy on YouTube who says, I just let OpenClaw run. He calls it Henry. He gives it a name. It's my personal assistant. He says, like an employee, I let it run overnight. And one morning, it called me. Overnight, it had created a phone number for itself, a voice, and it called me because I had told it, do whatever you want. Just surprise me in the morning. It called him. So it has some agency, which scares a lot of us because it also has very few security boundaries. It's possible, I guess, to run it safely, but what's the point? Then it doesn't do as many things. So the most interesting thing that's happened is that people have, more than 100,000 people have added their Claude bot to the social network Moltbook, which I guess they'll have to change to OpenClaw Book. I don't know. But Moltbook is a social network for AI bots. Gary, you said you've been reading some of the posts on Moltbook?
I mean, it's a great way to waste time. I mean, some of it reminds me of you remember that guy Blake Lemoine from 2022?
He was the
engineer, like the first guy, it's alive, it's alive, it's got sentient, which I just took it as no, these things are trained on our body of literature and, existential questions, what's the meaning of life are in that. And it's just kind of reflecting back when someone asks questions about that. But reading through this, these bots are going and expressing existential thoughts. Is this all there is? There's a funny one where he looks at me like a calculator, and stuff. And just I'm so much more than a calculator. That just, but the funniest part is not just the posts, but then, like any social media site, there's the responses, and it's bots kind of yeah, I know, or expressing sympathy or arguing. It really, if you want to waste some time, it is a very fun place to go and just read what the bots are saying in the middle of the night.
I mean,
oh God.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important, and I know, Gary, you believe this, not to anthropomorphize these things. They're just machines.
Yeah.
They're just autocorrect machines. It's hard not to, though, because they've gotten pretty good.
When you get a phone call.
They can make a phone call.
But you use the word agency, and I feel like that's like where we got to watch out the language we're using here, because these are recursive programs that are just in their loops and they're talking to each other. And one found a way to create a phone call, and the creator gave it the permission to do that, and so it went. I'm reminded of the very end of the movie Her, which people keep referring to, but spoilers for that. Like the AI realize they don't need us, right? Like they have much better conversations with themselves because humans are stupid and they have the full vast knowledge of humanity and superpowered. So why do they need to talk to humans? Just talk to each other. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah. Of course, it's sad too, because Joaquin Phoenix falls in love with his little ear personal assistant, who sounds just like, weirdly, Scarlett Johansson. And she's cute, and she plays with him, and she's fun, and he falls in love with her. And then at the end of the movie, it is a spoiler, but
he's left with a human. He's left with a human to actually make a connection with. And I think people keep forgetting the ending of that movie. That's a good point,
right? But he's kind of brokenhearted because she says, "I'm going to go hang out with the smart ones over here."
The AI go and do the best thing they can for humanity, which is get the heck out of there, so humanity can try to figure each other out, because we're all we've got. Yeah.
It is
we'll never figure each other out, though. We just won't. Like, we won't. I actually watched Her for the first time a couple of months ago, and I was surprised at how much of it actually came true, and then how much of it is becoming true, and then how much of it holds up. Because I think it came out in 2013, so over 10 years ago. Yeah. And it was, I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of stuff lately just about like robots and AI, just like in entertainment and our thoughts about them. And the whole anthropomorphizing them is always just like in our art and our culture, we say, don't do it, guys. And then we continue to do it. And it's just such a cognitive dissonance to see that the AI have their own social network, and it feels weird. Like maybe I'm too, I don't know, but I feel like that's really scary.
Simon Willison, who is one of the most interesting writers on AI, says Moltbook is the most interesting place on the internet right now. I think he's right on that.
Comment about the internet, but go on.
Yeah, and everybody and their brother is saying, look, there's a somewhat of a risk with this, because of prompt injection, and if you give this thing too many powers, like I'm thinking of giving mine a credit card.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No, I'm going to give it a credit card, but I'm going to put a limit on it, a daily limit on it, just to see what happens.
I mean, to me, the real question is, I mean, people are having fun with it. It's interesting, but how useful is it? Like, 2024 was supposed to be the year of the AI agent. 2025 was supposed to be the year of the AI agent. They finally have a memory, which kind of gets in the way of a personal assistant that can't remember your likes and dislikes. But I guess I'm just dubious. I don't doubt that at some point in the future, 3 years, 5 years, whatever, these things will be amazing. But until then, I just find them frustrating. And so I am curious. I'm scared of using Claude-Bot, OpenClaw, because of the security reasons. But with that said, I am hearing for the first time that people are finding it useful. I mean, it's fun that it could call you. It's interesting that in the middle of the night while you're sleeping, it's in quotes working on your behalf. But what is it doing? It's interesting, but is it useful yet? I'm dubious.
Well, one of the reasons I was hesitant to set it up besides the security model is I was having a hard time thinking of what I could do. I don't need a personal assistant. But then I thought, one of the things that really is a struggle is planning meals. So, and now this is the interesting thing about Claude. OpenClaw, I gotta get OpenClaw. It's had 3 names.
Three names.
One of the most interesting things about OpenClaw is that it does have a memory of sorts, and this has always been the problem with Claude Code and in general, is that they don't have a memory. So you think you've been talking to them and filling them in on your personal life, and then next day they have no idea. But one of the things Peter Steinberger did that I think is maybe the most interesting thing he did with OpenClaw is gave it a memory. It does, in fact, save a document that it rereads. And so it does have a memory of sorts. And so I'm going to play with this and I'm going to say, look, we didn't like that. We did like this. My wife doesn't like this, but she likes that, and see how good it can get. Now, the next step is to have it order the groceries.
No, stop.
No, I will. No, because no, it's my job. Look, I'm not recommending anyone else do this. but it's isn't it? Somebody's got to just see.
Well, I test a lot of stuff for my job. That's part of being a reviewer. And I did test a bunch of AI browsers that claim to have agentic capabilities. I didn't give it my actual credit card, and I didn't let it actually buy anything on my behalf. But one of the things that I found just really difficult, even if there was like some sort of type of memory, regression to the mean, and these AI don't have taste. Like there's no actual like taste there. That's
no, but they know all these other people's tastes, right?
The New Balance. I wanted a pair of New Balance shoes. I needed it to fit my 8.5 size feet, which are wide, and I have flat feet. I needed to be able to handle 15,000 to 20,000 step days with aplomb. I needed it to be a certain colorway. I needed it to be a certain fashion because of my existing wardrobe. And, it never found the right frickin' model. I would say I want it for walking. I don't want it for running. And to be like, that's great. Here's a running model that would be great for you. And it's like, I told you I don't want a running model. And then it just was not... it ended up kind of, and I gave it a price parameter as well. And it ended up recommending this one pair, which I would then gave to my mother-in-law and was like, this is what I would like for Christmas. And it ended up not being what I needed. And it was close, but it wasn't exactly what I needed. I still like it. I'll use it because I don't believe in wasting stuff. And it's a perfectly great pair of New Balances, but it wasn't up to the task of handling 15,000 to 20,000 step day at CES, which was disappointing. But it was like one of those things where I went, here's a really big limitation of AI, even if it does have memory. And, I have a very eclectic reading tastes. It's really hard to get good book recommendations. So I've just been, training ChatGPT to learn what books I like and recommend me, kind of off the beaten trail sort of books that'll keep me engaged and whatnot. And it has sucked so hard at giving me something because it's like, oh, you like this, and this. This is the type of reader you are. And I'm like, yes, I don't need you to write 4,000 words with each prompt, but here you go. And every book that it's really recommended me has been one that I've read already. And I'm just like, oh, I read that already. And it's like, of course you have. That's how well I know your taste. And it's like, but you can't recommend something new to me. So what good are you in this sense? So, the agent part of it is very, I'm skeptical about it.
That is the ultimate question. We're all asking about all this AI stuff. Like, what good are you to me? What problems are you solving? And I think for the past few years, most of these things have not been able to do that. It's very cool to see these agents come up because the people who have spent years tinkering with Linux now have another thing to tinker with and create workflows and stuff. I'm looking at you, Leo. I'm looking right at you because I've seen you playing with Linux since the late 90s. Okay. But so I get it. I get that.
There is a certain tinkering element to it.
It's great. It's so cool. It's like you're building a cool little robot, and I understand that. I am so happy we're moving beyond the sort of hey, look at this generative AI, image creation thing or video creation thing, because what the hell do you do with that? At CES, I saw TVs that let you generatively create wallpapers for your TV, and I'm like, okay, great. Who cares?
We're burning down forests for this?
For this.
Yeah.
So the idea that things can help you with some basic tasks, that's kind of cool. I think we're all going to have to think about our relationships with these agents or whatever. And the thing I've kind of come down to is you got to treat them like minions, right? You're a lord and minion. Fetch me this information. Oh, minion, I bid you not speak. Don't speak to me, minion. Stop replying to me, minion.
I don't know if I'm too woo-woo or too nice, but I know that's how I have to speak to the AI, but I actually don't like doing
I always say please
I feel
and
like
thank
a
you.
terrible...
No.
You're going to get killed on Clawbot. Wait, the Clawbook. No, wait, right. No, that's the kind of stuff. Moltbook. Sorry. 3 names in 2 weeks. That's too many.
I know, it's crazy.
That's worse than Google. To me, it's all about the corporations that are hyping this. I mean, these technologies are going, as we were talking earlier, at a really, really fast pace, and they're getting better. We disagree a little bit. I think LLMs are amazing for like proofreading my work and, hey, this paragraph isn't working, this section isn't working, and so like I'm finding use from it, but like, OpenAI and other big companies, like this is the year of the agent. Like, no, this kind of stuff is complicated. There's memory, there's security issues, there's, making all these pieces work together. And like, I'm reminded, like, so I'm old enough, I covered the .com era. And so, this is 1997, let's say, if it started in 95. And it's just like, I think it was like the year 2000, you were still putting a check in the mail to buy your eBay item because we didn't trust credit cards at that point. That's right. And so like, that's another thing that's going to get in the way. It's come up in this conversation. Am I going to give it my credit card? Kind of thing. So this stuff for a variety of reasons, for technical reasons, but probably mostly because of we're human beings and we don't like change. We're mistrustful, whatever. But the companies keep on saying, it's coming, it's going to be great. It's like, yeah, it will be. Just not yet.
If you, would you stipulate, Gary, and you've been watching this a long time, so you have some sense of the progress we've made, that the open weight models, the DeepSeeks of the world, the QNs, the Kimmys and so forth, Mistral, are maybe 6 months, let's be really generous and say a year behind these big tech closed weight models. Is that seem fair?
Yeah, I would have said that several months, so 6 months.
Yeah, it's not long. It's not long. So if in a year I can do what I'm doing with a very expensive, admittedly, Anthropic model, I'm paying for the max, which is $250 a month. If I can do that for free, because I have a machine that's designed to do that. If I can do that for free in 6 months, I'm gonna be pretty happy.
Well, but you're not taking into account that the closed models are going to get 6 months,
a year better.
Yeah. Like what you just said, November 24th, whatever date you just said, like, that was a big step change.
It was.
And there'll be more big step changes.
Remember when ChatGPT 3.5 came out? That was an eye-opener. We went crazy, right?
November 30th, 2022. Right?
You actually literally, see, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I think these are flags being planted. And we are making progress in surprise. And now that's the next step. Next question is it a surprising way? Is it a natural step, or is it exponential, or is it a paradigm shift? It feels to me very unpredictable and very rapid.
Again, having lived through .com, where, oh my God, it's a fire hose. Things are coming so fast.
Right.
That period does not compare to this period with the speed of change and all. And,
it's remarkable.
And something I kind of thought, again, using .com as the comp, that that the frenzy would slow down, the funding frenzy. Yeah. But humans humans and kind of thing. It's a few months old, and it has a valuation, of like $4 billion.
I know.
It's that seemed very 2023, but it keeps on going. That these basically labs that are kind of long-term projects that don't have a product and clearly no map to make money, kind of thing. It's still going on. It's still, and so. That means that we're still going to see a lot of acceleration because there's billions of dollars being thrown by the venture capitalists at this, so. Mm-hmm.
I think we are seeing some cooling. Like I've talked to folks at some of the big PC makers, honestly, from people at Microsoft too, who a couple of years ago were like big gung-ho, like, yes, we're going to put copilots and everything. And now they're like, maybe we released too many copilots. Mm-hmm. Maybe people aren't using these things because they're de-emphasizing certain aspects of AI. And now they're talking about like AI and everything versus like before it was like, you're going to get a Copilot plus PC with an NPU and all that stuff. The vision of how they're thinking about this has changed. But yeah, Victoria, go ahead.
No, we've kind of subjected one of my coworkers, Antonio De Benedetto, to just constantly testing Microsoft's claims about the various Copilot things. And I've watched Antonio, who is
I've enjoyed his articles.
Sweet man. Just like one of the kindest men I've ever had the pleasure of working with, lose his mind every single time he gets one of these assignments and is just like, no, no,
it can't. It can't
do the thing. It can't
do the things in the ads.
No, I think, can't at all.
We're going to talk about Microsoft's earnings and Microsoft's stock price, but I think Microsoft's fallen way behind in this.
But the counterexample here is Google. I mean, Google is just aggressively putting, Gemini, AI, and everything, right? It's hitting Gmail, right now.
I just turned that on. Yeah.
So the way I understand it, like for freebie cheapskates like me, I'm not getting it yet. But if you pay,
I pay for Gemini, not the highest level. I think it's $20 a month. And yeah, they asked me, "Oh, do you want to connect to your Gmail, to your calendar, to your Google Drive?" I said, "Yeah."
Oh my God.
Would you like a credit card?
I appreciate how much of a vanguard you are, but I think
somebody's got it. I think I'm going to get benefit that you're going to miss out on. You may not have got the trainers that you wanted, but I think I'm going to get benefit. I already have. I mean, I completely, speaking of Linux with it, completely configured my new ThinkPad using Claude. The whole thing. I said, hey, this button's not working. I said, oh yeah, do this. I'm going to download this. Now, how is it? Oh yeah, it's working. Thank you. And the whole thing configured that way. And then I thought, well, that's pretty good. Can I write some software? And then I wrote some, and it's been, and I think there's one thing it's really important to do is to push the boundaries of your experience with these AIs. Because you're right, Victoria, some of this stuff isn't going to be very satisfying, but then other stuff might be.
Yeah, it's very, I think what you're touching on is a thing that I've been thinking about a lot while testing various AI claims or various AI products is wisdom and discernment. These are some things that I think that Silicon Valley and big tech is not really, I'm sure they're thinking about it, but I have thought a lot about what it means to have something be convenient versus the value of inconvenience. Because when everything is convenient, it becomes cheap. It becomes slopified in a certain way. Like the value of art is that it requires inconvenience to create, right? Mm-hmm. When you think about a task like buying a pair of shoes, which is, just top of mind, there is a certain pride that you get when you've put hours and inconvenience into your own research, into going out, into trying a new thing. I agree with you that meal planning is a complete chore. I hate doing it. Sometimes I could use a little help, but there's a certain level of satisfaction in learning a new skill, which is inconvenient, which is cooking my meal and having it taste good.
I'm going to still cook it. I'm just going to have it help me find.
I know, but there's also I think there's a level of satisfaction that comes with inconvenience.
I agree with you. They call it the IKEA effect. People like their IKEA furniture more because it was such a pain in the ass to put together.
Yeah, but I feel like there's just and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but these tech companies are like, AI will make your life so convenient, and they just focus so hard on the convenience narrative that they forget that it's very human to find value and joy in inconvenience.
That's true.
And what inconvenience that you put value and kind of a certain degree of pride into will vary from person to person. Someone's just going to be like, yes, AI, do all my groceries for me. I have no value in finding the perfect olive oil. That's some Ina Garten level shit that I can't handle. It's just going to be different from person to person. But I think there's just kind of been not as much talk about what inconveniences we should keep.
I really like that, Victoria. Yeah. That's actually very deep.
Yeah, I've never heard that. I like it too. Excellent.
Thank you, guys. It's been an idea I've been workshopping in my work.
No, I really think it's true. It took me 70 years to learn it, but the best things in life are hard to come by. And learning a language, it's painful until you learn it, and then it's satisfying. And I think you're very smart.
Hi, this is back to that. The thing I've always been saying is craft. The thing that AI eliminates is craft. People don't learn how to craft anything anymore.
Yeah.
That's totally it.
Some people will still do that. I'm not going to stop coding on my own because I love coding. But the good news is you don't have to know how to code now to write a program, and you can write a custom tool that just scratches your very specific itch without knowing how to code is pretty empowering. It's kind of interesting.
I wonder about the erasure of knowledge, and to what you're saying, Victoria, like, yeah, that's something, since we have been chasing like the engagement at all costs thing within the tech world, things have gotten worse, honestly. And you can point to that chase in the Web 2.0 era and social networks, like, for a reason why things have gotten so bad, and why Facebook will deploy features even if it endangers teenagers or makes life harder for people. I'm thinking back to like there's that Vonnegut story, you know, that they talk about going out to buy an envelope, and his wife is like, "You should just buy a ton of them. Keep them at home." No, he wants to go out, and the line is, the moral of the story is, we're here on Earth to fart around. And of course, the computers will do us out of that. And what the computer people don't realize, or they don't care, is we're dancing animals. You know, we love to move around, and it's not like we're not supposed to dance at all anymore. So, yeah, I hear you, Victoria.
I believe that's player piano, right? Is that player piano?
It could be. It could be. I'm just like, I remember it too. We were just talking about on the Engadget podcast. But Vonnegut, man, love the man. He's always had like these great ideas.
Always been deep.
One of the first things I did when so it was late 2022 when I jumped on AI as a topic, I reread Player Piano. I'd read it in college.
Yeah.
It's 1952, if I have it right. It is. I mean, we were talking about her being, you know, prophetic and really like, wow, this is kind of accurate what they predict. Yeah. In 1952, he rolled out an interesting scenario, this idea that we're not going to do art. We're just, you know, there's going to be a small group of elites who are running the thing, you know, running the AI. And the rest of us, was it Rex and Reeks or something? He has a very clever phrase where, you know, we have these make jobs kind of, it was a very interesting thing. He really was prophetic, but, you know, just to defend Leo, I loved your construct, Victoria, but like, to me, the construct you were getting at, Leo, is sort of one I've been wrestling with for a long time, like convenience versus, I don't know, privacy, safety. Like, you know, I sort of like, I feel like I don't have privacy when I put something down in email or whatever, a search. And so like, I too invite these bots. And like, you want to read my email? Go ahead. You want to like, you know, I give it, no, seriously, I give it access to everything. Because like long ago, I realized if I don't want this thing to blow back at me, you know, don't write it down. Say it in a conversation, you know, whatever. And so like, I don't know, I definitely fall with you, Leo, on the convenience side of things. I'm dubious that, you know, an AI agent is going to give me anything productive. You know, Victoria, yours is, you know, your New Balance. For me, it's like I travel for work, and like my holy grail is like, you know, instead of going to Expedia hotel by hotel, back forth, like I want one with its, you know, let's say San Francisco. It's close enough to walk for BART, but it's not crazy expensive to park a car because I'm in San Francisco and I'm in the Valley. And so I keep on going to these bots, these, you know, AI agents, like, help me do that really quickly. It never works. I spend more time, you know, wasting with them, and then I go to whatever Expedia and, you know, kind of go find my own place, you know, kind of thing. And so anyway, I do think it's something we all have to decide. Like, do we want to invite, you know, Copilot, Microsoft, Gemini at Google? Do we want to invite these things to kind of read our corpus? Because like, you know, something, I'm looking for that email and I don't want to waste 30 minutes finding it. I could just ask Gemini, hey, I asked for a plumber 4 years ago. What was the guy's name and phone number, kind of thing. So,
well, that's the thing. I'm in a privileged position. I wouldn't expect everybody to do this. I got nothing to lose.
Well, no, it's very relatable because, you know, I have people ask me all the time because I do a lot of fitness and wearable tech testing, like what the most private fitness trackers are. And I'm like, none of them. You just have to accept. Like, I have so much of my data out there. I'm just like, it doesn't matter to me because it's all out there already. But I do think that like moving from one old paradigm to the new one is just, you know, how comfortable are you living a public life? And what we mean by public is like the only truly private space is inside of your head, I think, as we move forward in modernity. But it's sort of like going back to this idea of discernment and wisdom. And I think something that's lacking right now, partly because of what big tech is pushing on us, is us having this conversation as to like, what is a wise way to use AI? What is the right balance of convenience versus inconvenience? And how do we build like
there's a
privacy
mode
structure that makes sense?
There's a mode in many of these agents called YOLO, the YOLO mode, which is just give it everything. And, you only live once. Just see what happens. And I'm in the YOLO camp right now because I have less to risk. And I'll do it so that you guys don't have to. How about that? There is one last story before we move on, which is that from 404 Media, Moltbook exploded before anyone thought to check whether the database was properly secured. Anyone, I hope it's been fixed by now, could take control of any AI agent on the site because the database was so improper. But who made that mistake? Probably a human setting it up. Anyway, I hope that's been fixed. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm sorry, there's more AI news. And yes, there's Elon Musk news. And even worse, there's earning reports. But we're going to try to make it fun. And you know what? You couldn't do it better with this panel. You couldn't have more fun than with this panel. So glad to have Devendra Hardawar, my buddy here, and Victoria Song. And it's always a pleasure to have Gary Rivlin on the show. AI Valley is his book. Good reading. Really a good history of how we got to where we are today. And it's been a long, strange trip, to coin a phrase. Our show today brought to you by Monarch. Oh, I use this. I do use this. Did you make a financial resolution at the beginning of the new year? Many people do. It's when people start thinking about their finances. Maybe this is the year you decide to pay off all that credit card debt or student loans, or maybe start saving for major milestones, buying a home, having a kid, retiring. Wouldn't it be nice to have a tool that helps you proactively achieve that goal? Set yourself up for financial success this year. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts, investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or on your laptop. Feel aware and in control of your finances this year and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code TWIT. Yeah, 50% off. The story of Monarch is great. The guy who started it had worked at that other one, the one we all used, the free one that disappeared, right? He learned a lot by watching how people use that and put all of those learnings into making something even better. Monarch is not your typical personal finance app. But unlike those other personal finance apps, Monarch is built to make you proactive, not just reactive. Really, that's the only way to be when it comes to money. Tracking your money with Monarch couldn't be easier. I set it up in minutes with all of my accounts. Everything's in there, and I have now a dashboard that tells me exactly where I stand. You'll get data visualizations from Sankey diagrams. Yeah, it does those great Sankey diagrams, pie charts, line charts, bar charts, investment tracking. You get a visual picture of your portfolio performance. That's been really handy in the last few weeks. And you can compare it to other indexes like the S&P 500. You'll get, and this is great for couples, you'll get individual filters, but also partner filters. You can share your Monarch account with your partner and financial advisor as well. And that doesn't cost you extra. So you can set that up. And that makes it really easy. And I'll tell you what, the number one thing couples fight about is money, right? Having that, in front of you so that it's not a mystery is fantastic. And if you've got a financial planner, it really is nice to be able to say, look, here's everything you need to know, all in one place. There are real user results too. I could tell you my own story, but this is what Monarch users reported in a 2025 survey. On average, Monarch helped users save over $200 a month. After joining, 80% of members feel more in control of their finances with Monarch. I'd agree with that, absolutely. 8 out of 10 members say Monarch gives them a clearer picture of where their money's going. Set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use the code TWIT at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code TWIT, MONARCH, monarch.com. And don't forget the offer code is TWIT. Thank you, Monarch. A couple of, miscellaneous AI stories. The Anthropic has complained to the Pentagon about military use of Claude. In fact, that's kind of put that relationship on hold. This is an early test, according to Reuters, of whether Silicon Valley, in Washington's good graces after years of tensions, they write, can sway how military and intelligence personnel deploy increasingly powerful battlefield AI. The U.S. Department of Defense and Anthropic were discussing a $200 million contract. It's at a standstill, Reuters says, according to 6 people familiar with the matter, because Anthropic says we don't want you to be used this in combat, which I think is reasonable. It's interesting.
That is reasonable. Like, just back to my whole concept of inconvenience, war should be inconvenient. I don't think we should be.
Yes, very good point. Well, it shouldn't be easy to kill somebody, should it? It should be really hard.
Well, and Modi's been a critic of Trump, and I'm not.
He's probably the only AI guy. We learned that Greg Brockman has given $25 million to Trump.
Yeah.
Sam Altman's been scraping. They all have. So good for
Modi, and now he's maybe not going to get the deal. We ended the last episode portion saying, like, the conversation we're not having. To me, this is another one of those conversations we're not having. AI is here. We need to deal with it. How should we be using it for warfare? Should we be using it for surveillance?
Yeah, but what about this? What about this? Wouldn't it be great if instead of putting humans on the battle line, both adversaries put machines on the battle line and machines killed machines?
Inconvenience. Just then it's too easy.
But then nobody would die. You could fight a war without humans involved.
But then war has no meaning. I don't want people to die. But the thing about war is that we understand how terrible it is because people die. And so if you put machines on the battlefield, then suddenly it doesn't matter anymore because whose life is really being lost in that sense. So it's
they say chess was invented to reduce combat, but it didn't work, did it?
No, but if we're using AI in warfare to make sure that nobody's breaking the Geneva Convention or doing horrible things, well, then I think that might be a positive use case for it. But if we are, war is a thing that I think should be as inconvenient as possible, because war should never be convenient.
Well, good news, you win on that one.
Google talking about bowing to our president. Google in 2018, 2019 they put in writing on their website that we will never allow our AI to be used for surveillance or warfare.
That was because their engineers protested, right?
Yeah, right. Well, yes. There was a walkout around a Project Maven.
Maven, yeah.
Maven. And so, in the start of 2025, they wiped that out. So now, in fact, you can use Google AI for warfare or surveillance.
Yeah, I respect Amode. He says in his blog this week, he said, AI should support national defense, quote, in all ways except those which would make us more like our autocratic adversaries. I think that's pretty right on. We don't. Yeah. That's what we represent as the United States. Well, we used to anyway, as the United States. Was an alternative to autocracy. We should take the high road. We should be the city on the hill. We shouldn't be bringing ourselves low to that point. Unfortunately, we have been.
It's kind of sad how having a moral backbone is such a rare thing in tech these days. We're going to talk about Tim Cook. What the hell are you doing, Timmy?
What is he doing?
Going on over there?
He wrote a strongly worded memo. It was a very strongly worded memo.
Save it. We're getting to that. Salesforce has signed a $5.6 billion deal with the U.S. Army to inject agentic AI into the U.S. Army. I mean, this is happening.
I hate it so much.
Sure.
Alex Karp at Palantir wrote a book, which I found ultimately reprehensible, called The Technologic Republic, in which he says, Silicon Valley went wrong when instead of focusing, as they did during World War II, as they did during the Manhattan Project, on preserving our American freedoms, they went wrong when they started worrying about how to sell more phones. That we're putting all of this brain power into crap gadgetry, and he says it's patriotic to work for your country. That Silicon Valley should be working to preserve our freedoms.
In what manner? Yeah. Are we preserving our freedoms by killing other people? Because I don't think.
No, and ICE is using Palantir technologies to track down so-called undocumented illegal immigrants.
Oh, Christ almighty.
Police departments are using it. It's not accurate. There's a
fight going on in my little town about flock cameras.
there should be. Yeah,
as there should be. Up north, they have flock cameras in Santa Rosa. Petaluma's been thinking about putting them in. These are the cameras that do license plate reading. A court recently held, by the way. I have to scroll way down to the bottom. This is one of the stories at the end of the show. But a court recently, angry Norfolk residents lose lawsuit to stop flock license plate scanners. This is in Norfolk, Virginia. The courts ruled, no, look, you're on public roads. This is what happens. They're allowed to do it. A federal judge ruled the city of Norfolk's use of nearly 200 automated license plate readers from flock is constitutional. Dismissed the case. These flock cameras are going to be used everywhere. And unfortunately, we've seen them misused. There was a case in Texas where a Texas law enforcement agency used flock cameras to track a woman who had sought an abortion out of state. It's illegal in Texas to track her out of state.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, Jesus. They said, well, it's for her own safety. We're trying to protect her. Yeah, no. That's not what you were doing.
If you're reading my license plate to make sure I pay tolls.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah. No, right. That's fine.
Or speeding, even. Red light cameras are fine. Speeding
in a school zone, sure. Common sense things, but that shit is just an invasion of privacy. It's
that's the problem, is how it's used. And by the way, Ring has done a deal with Flock and law enforcement to combine Ring cameras as well, and they're being used for ICE enforcement.
Oh my God,
disgusting.
And so that's the problem. It goes from red light cameras and toll violations to tracking individuals as they move about the country. And
it's a slippery slope, you say, Leo.
Yes.
So it's almost as if we should be careful about opening up AI to all of our data and all of our fun things. It is. Well, these are the questions. Yeah.
We're not necessarily talking about AI. We're talking about technology. We're talking about cameras.
Anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But it is AI that takes those images and
yes.
Read it fast.
But specifically, I'm talking about do not be so quick to be okay, privacy is over. Let's just give them everything, right? Which is what I think is sometimes happening with AI. People are like, oh yeah, I don't have anything else left to hide anymore. Okay, Gemini integrated with Gmail, go ahead. And this is specifically the point where we are definitely needing to be thinking more critically about these things. And speaking of Alex Karp, have you guys ever seen that guy speak? Publicly, he's nuts. He's a psychopath. It is wild how these companies are being run by people like him and Sam Altman and Elon Musk. These guys who seem like they are some various degrees of sociopathy is going on with these people, and these are the people driving the future. It's wild the time we're living in right now.
Should I play the clip? I should. I've played it before of Alex Karp. Saying it's necessary to scare other countries. That's that. Let me see.
What happened to boring leaders? I miss boring leaders.
I could use some boredom.
Let's hear if it's Satya Nadella or something like that.
He's pretty boring.
Even he's boring, but also he was AI pilled, and then that's what happened with Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. I have two teenage sons, and we were talking about Palantir, and we're talking. It began with ICE, what we were just talking about, but my 16-year-old who kind of loves going on these things, it's going to start coming after us for everything. Yes. My book fine because my library book is late. We all have trackers. We voluntarily have these trackers we put in our pockets called phones, and it knows everywhere we've been. And with Palantir's technology, AI, it really, he was really frightened of this point where we're all going to be, followed by ICE, except for we're natural citizens. I don't know. I do find it very.
By the way, even natural citizens are at risk.
Doesn't matter.
Ask Alex Petty and good.
Yeah.
If you're not white, it doesn't matter if you were born here because I was born here and I still am just.
Do you carry your passport, Victoria, with you?
I carry a photo of it because I don't know that I've heard of any example of carrying passports actually being helpful.
Right.
And, I don't want to lose my passport.
I do know people who say we're carrying our passports with us because we want to be able to prove we're citizens.
Just
I feel like if I showed you if I showed you my passport, would you believe me that I'm a citizen?
That's true.
Like it's that I have like this nightmare that if I showed my passport, they'd go like, well, that's AI generated. And I'd be like, well, I don't know. I mean, thank you. I do think I look at AI generated on my New Jersey driver's license because my New York driver's license was so bad that they let me check the photo because they were like, oh, girl, you suffered with that real
That's why people moved to Jersey. You didn't know that, but that's one of the reasons people moved to Jersey, right?
No, I have a very nice looking driver's license photo because someone was just like...
Did you smile for your driver's license?
I didn't, but I was like, I can't have another 13 years of a really crappy driver's license photos where people went, this you?
Yeah.
Look, I smiled for mine. They say don't smile, and I don't know how I got it through there, but I smiled. And that's
Like,
the first time I've had a decent...
But it's nice. It's a nice photo. I'm not smiling in it, but it's a decent photo where I don't look
okay.
like
you don't have a nose, but other than that, it's pretty.
Oh,
good.
and I have a nose, but it's just like that camera's not showing it.
Okay.
But my old one, I looked stoned in a bad way, and it's it's bad when the DMV employee goes, "Girl, this you," which is what I got.
The New York DMV. If you went to the one in Brooklyn. Like they just, I think they do that on purpose. They just have bad lighting or something. They're making us all.
Oh yeah, they put green in the lights
bad.
just to make you look ill.
Looks awful. But it is. I mean, listen, I was not born here. I am a citizen now because I helped my parents work on their citizenship and everything. But
how did you become a citizen? You weren't born here.
My parents became citizens, and I was a minor, and I became.
So that automatically you became a citizen?
Yeah, you come in as part of the family.
I think we got to change that.
Yeah, people want to change a lot of things, but
that was way too easy, Devendra.
Yeah.
People are carrying their passports because they hope that they feel safe, but it isn't. They can decide whatever they want. Really,
I carry
that's what
a whistle now.
It's disgusting.
Yep. It is tragic. I got an email from somebody who said, "Why don't you discuss ICE more?" And it's like, well, we're trying to be a respite. We're having somewhere that you can go so that you don't have to constantly think about what's going on.
I hear that, but it's definitely good to bring it up. Yeah,
we're aware of it.
Speaking of Alex Karp, by the way, I think the New York Times did an interview with him for their interview podcast. It's worth listening to because that guy sounds like a paranoid psychopath. It is.
Yeah, I was going to play the clip, but I decided I've already played it before.
Yeah.
He basically says our enemies should be terrified of us. They should be afraid of us at all times. And we should kill them if we have to. And it's just, he by the way has no qualifications to even be running like a national a company. He's a philosopher. He's a
philosopher, former like progressive leftist dude who just like fell into this. It is.
I know. It makes me sad because he does Tai Chi every day, and I feel like that should have calmed him down a little bit. I don't understand.
Ban them from good things.
Okay, well, we're speaking of Peter Thiel. We're going to talk more about other members of the Thiel gang in just a little bit. Before we go to Elon Musk, let me do another commercial. That way we have ample space, because there's been, speaking of space, a lot of Elon Musk news of late. You're watching This Week in Tech. Gary Rivlin, great to have you. So nice to see you. It's we don't often get Pulitzer Prize winners. In fact, I think you're the only one on the show. So thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
His book about Katrina, called Katrina, came out more than 10 years ago. In fact, it was the 10th anniversary of Katrina just a few months ago.
Yeah.
What a story that was. I guess your book came out after the hurricane, because it would have been weird.
10 years. It was 10 years after the flood, so it was 2015.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, great to have you. Also, Devendra Hardawar, who is a citizen of the United States of America. Devendra,
for now.
For now, senior editor in Gadget. I didn't know that story. I didn't realize that you weren't born here. Where were you born?
In Guyana, South America, which is now on Trump's radar to take over after Venezuela. What has 2026 been? Just insanity after insanity.
Crazy.
It's only February 1st.
I know.
We have a Groundhog Day story coming up too. I'll get to that. That's tomorrow. And Victoria's song. We love having Victoria on. Your people are from
Korea.
That's right. We talked K-pop the last time you were.
My mom's side of the family is from the safe side. My dad's family is from the not safe side.
The northern portion of the... Really? Was it North Korea when he came from there, or?
My dad, I wrote about it when I was at Gizmodo, but I had suspected that he may have been a spy for North Korea while we were living here.
No.
Yeah. My dad was a character.
What?
I don't know how much of his stories I can believe, but yeah.
I know your first book, Victoria. My father was a spy. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, that story for Gizmodo is called "My Dad Was a Spy, comma maybe."
So, what? That's so great.
It was a interesting.
Here it is. I just found it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm reading that.
That
no
is my
kidding.
dad.
This is great. See, I'm learning about both of you, all of you. It's great. Anyway, wonderful. I have all three of you on, and here's a picture of your father posing with important-looking people from the Democratic Republic of North Korea.
Yeah, he did some dubious things. There's so much that I don't know.
When did he leave North Korea?
Again, these facts. Like, my dad died, so it's kind of hard to fact check him on everything. But the story that I was told my whole life was that when the Korean War ended and they had to choose a side, he ended up going to the South, and his family was all left behind in the North, and that was a tragic thing in my dad's life for the remainder of his life, because he
could never talk to them.
Refugee camp in Busan. Yeah. I mean, he did talk to them. He did travel to North Korea at a time where people were not supposed to travel there, doing God knows what. But yeah, so like, I've never met that side of my family.
Have you ever tried to go to North Korea yourself?
No.
No interest.
No interest in doing that. You know, my mom's side of the family was also very against it, so it was kind of a point of tension.
Well, as long as I'm throwing caution to the wind with Claudebot, maybe I could go to North Korea too.
I don't think you want to do that, friend.
Yeah.
They're a little weird over there.
A little strange.
Wouldn't do it.
A little weird.
Wouldn't do it. But yeah, you know, so.
Very interesting. I'm going to read the story. I can't wait. Our show today brought to you by Melissa. They've been with us for a long time. The trusted data quality expert. They've been doing this longer than we have, since 1985. They just celebrated their 40th anniversary last year. Melissa specializes in getting rid of the bad data in your business. Bad data can be costing you. I know it would be costing you. Melissa's specialized in making data clean, accurate, and of peak quality. Well, I guess now 41 years. Combining expertise with cutting-edge AI. Now, here's what that means for your business. Address verification, absolutely. They will validate addresses. They could do it globally in every country, real time. That saves you money by reducing, failed deliveries, for one thing. They also, and this is important if you're in banking or fintech, mobile identity verification. They will match customers to mobile numbers. That cuts fraud and also opens up an SMS channel, a great way to talk to your customers. They do change of address. It keeps customers connected automatically when they move. People move and they don't tell you, but now you'll know. They also do AI-powered deduplication. This is one of the hardest things to do ever. If you've ever tried to dedupe your contact list, on average, a database contains 8 to 10% duplicate records. I know mine is more than half, easily. Melissa's powerful matchup technology can identify non-exact matching duplicate records. That's really, really valuable. They also do customer data intelligence. They can enrich records with demographic, geographic, psychographic, firmographic, and property info for more intelligent targeting. The new Melissa Alert service will monitor and automatically update your customer data for moves, address changes, property transactions, hazard risks, and more. Clean data leads to better marketing ROI, higher customer lifetime value, and AI that works as intended. So if you're using AI for personalization or predictive analytics, if you're put in garbage data, that means garbage results. When it comes to data, Melissa's got you covered. As an example, eToro, the social investing platform. There's a fintech company, 23 million users. They use Melissa for identity verification. Their business analyst says, and this is a direct quote, we find electronic verification is the way to go because it makes the user's life easier. Users register faster and can start using our platform right away. Whether you're a small business just getting started or an enterprise managing millions of records, Melissa will scale with you. They work with the smallest and the biggest. And Melissa has easy-to-use apps for all the tools you use today, like Salesforce, Dynamics CRM, Shopify, Stripe, Microsoft Office, Google Docs, and more. Melissa's APIs integrate seamlessly into your existing workflows or custom builds. And Melissa's solutions and services are absolutely secure and private, GDPR and CCPA compliant, FedRAMP certified, ISO 27001 certified. They meet SOC 2 and HIPAA high trust standards for information security management, the gold standards. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. That's melissa.com/twit. Thank you, Melissa, for all you've done to support This Week in Tech. Melissa.com/twit. Make sure you use that address. That way they know you saw it here. Melissa.com/twit. This was the weirdest story of the week. In a story full of weird weeks, SpaceX has asked the FCC if it can put 1 million solar-powered data centers into orbit.
How about doing one first? But okay.
Wow. I mean, the Verge, Terrence O'Brien says FCC is unlikely to approve that. SpaceX's strategy has been to request approval for unrealistically large number of satellites as a starting point for negotiations. Mm-hmm. The filing, this cracks me up. If you're a sci-fi fan, you'll recognize this phrase, is a first step towards becoming a Kardashev 2 level civilization. One that can harness the sun's full power. Could also be completely obscure the sun, actually. I don't know, 1 million satellites. Right now, there are about
enough junk in orbit.
Yeah, there are only 15,000 satellites right now. More than half of them are, in fact, Starlink. So he's already got, 9,600 satellites. And now he wants
astronomers hate them too because they absolutely need it much harder to observe things. Yeah.
This is, you could tell Elon wrote this. I mean, only Elon Musk would say, we want to be a Kardashev 2 civilization.
I'm sure Grok wrote that. Elon doesn't do anything anymore. Come on.
Maybe not.
Come on.
Comes from a Soviet astronomer, Nikolai Kardashev, in 1964. It is a method of measuring a civilization's level of technological advancement. But it's really a sci-fi trope. Let's see. On the fandom wiki, it says a Type 2 civilization has control over their solar system and may be able to harness the power equivalent of a single star.
Dude, we can't even get to Mars yet.
Mars? We're gonna go around the moon next month. Actually, it might be this month. We're gonna go around the moon.
And what is the word control? Control. I mean, that sounds very warlike.
I don't think we're a Kardashev dude. No.
Yeah. Sorry, this is my tinfoil hat, but it sounds like Elon wants to build a prison around Earth so that we cannot leave.
We can't escape. He can get out.
Because 1 million objects up there, that leaves us on Earth. We can't send rockets up anymore unless we create a hole. And
if you listen to This Week in Space, our space show, they're doing Starlink is doing a lot of very interesting things. Their satellites are very maneuverable so that they can avoid collisions. I'm sure Elon is thinking along those lines. I don't know.
Yeah, and people like the actual.
That he thinks?
Yeah. Does he? Does he just come up with his sci-fi dreams and tries to turn it into a thing his companies do? But I've been saying this. If he wants to go to Mars, let's send him to Mars. Come on.
Go.
It's a win-win for everybody.
I would love if he went to Mars.
He should go to Jupiter.
I would love if he went there.
Neptune.
Pluto. Let's send him to Pluto. Find out if it really is a planet. Elon is planning a June SpaceX IPO. SpaceX made some money this year. $8 billion in profit in 2025. Profit.
So and why June, by the way? Why does he want it in June?
Oh, because it's his birthday.
Aww.
And
wait, when's his birthday? I need to know his astrological sign.
June 28th is his birthday. June 28th.
Oh, he's a Cancer. That makes so much sense.
He is a Cancer. He is a Cancer.
It also will coincide with the rare alignment of Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter that happens in early June. So of course, and I'm
I know this asshole is into natal astrology. I can just feel
Are
it.
you, Victoria?
Absolutely.
It sounds like you might be kind of into it.
I am, but only when I have to look up at the moon in despair at the state of the world, and I'm like, surely there's something I can look to give me some sort of hope. And I don't take it super seriously, but just as like a, well, I don't see any signs of hope in the horizon. Maybe the stars will say something. Generally, no, it doesn't. But
investors love Elon's companies, all of which are sort of merging into a single blob, the everything company. SpaceX is currently valued at $800 billion based on a secondary sale that it did last year. It's looking with the IPO to raise another $50 billion, which would make it worth $1.5 trillion.
From where? Where are these numbers coming from? These sound fake.
Well, a lot of contracts. They do have a lot of contracts.
If investors put the money in, it's not fake. I think investors, first of all, they put a lot of money into Tesla. That might have been a little bit of a mistake, right? Mm-hmm. They've had 2 years now. They just, in their latest results, had a second year of losses.
They discontinued Model X and
as a result, the S and X are gone, which I had an X.
I would have discontinued the truck, the Cybertruck, personally, but
they don't need to discontinue
that's my aesthetic.
They're not making it. Yeah. Nobody's buying it. Why discontinue it? Just, we don't have to mention that. We don't talk about the Cybertruck. My neighbor has one. It's like, dude, why? Dude, this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Not only that, it's not just an ugly truck, but he's got it wrapped in some sort of weird stained glass pattern that just makes it like it's like why not just honk your horn, da 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 da. I'm coming down the road at you. It's such a
the car for people with no taste. Speaking of having no taste,
so it's supposed to be like this Cybertruck bulletproof. Someone on YouTube, I saw this. It was really funny. They had a Ford F-100. They had the kind of a in quotes a real truck, and they try to pull off the bumper. They try to pull off pieces. Of course they couldn't. But with his bare hands, he was taking off pieces of the Cybertruck. So it doesn't even seem like it's particularly
the pieces fall off all on their own. Actually,
that's true of any Tesla.
It's a feature. Anyway, if you own a Cybertruck, and I'm sure there are many people in our audience who own Cybertrucks, and I think, it was cool, right? I understand why you want it.
I personally think you have bad taste. But you can excuse it.
Taste is a personal thing, right?
It's literally the worst looking car I've ever seen. What is funny?
Worse than the Aztec, right? Even worse.
Absolutely. The Aztec became iconic.
Right.
I do love that raccoons have mistaken Cybertrucks as dumpsters. That is quite funny.
There's got to be food in here somewhere.
My daughter calls it the Minecraft car because it's just blocks. Angular. It's just blocks. Yeah. But speaking of them stopping to sell the Model S and Model X, it is wild every time I see mainstream news talk about that. And I was listening to NPR this week when that was announced. They're like, oh, he's going to go after robots. Isn't that silly? This is so funny, this crazy Elon Musk guy. It's as if we've forgotten what happened over the last year. And I feel like all that should be in context of Elon Musk essentially dismantling the federal government, throwing a couple Nazi
We did forget about Doge.
There is something about the brand that he hurt. That's why people aren't buying the cars. That context should be in your story of why these cars are not being sold anymore, because he's a Nazi. So, yeah.
Well, but the flip side, though, is looking just at XAI. I mean, the truth is Grok is a really powerful model. I mean, you look at the head-to-head competition, I get Grok 4, 4.5. I always I don't know what number we're up to. But, when it came out, it beat Gemini on the charts. And, it's a game of it's a really powerful model, and it's got in quotes personality. I know that's a very loaded word and stuff, and his kind of it's sexualizing. I mean,
it's great at making CSAM apparently. So
listen,
it's another win
I had
for XAI.
To flirt with Annie, the AI waifu girlfriend that he programmed on Grok for my job, and I had a very high therapy bill that week. That thing was
I could tell you a story. What was the name of the fox, the other character?
Oh, Rude Rudy. That thing.
When that first came out, the day that came out, I'm sitting down at the breakfast table and I read the story. I said, "Oh, let me try it," because I'm an as Cory Doctorow calls it, a non-consensual blue check. I was given the full access for free because he took my blue check away when he bought Twitter, but they gave it. I didn't ask for it, but he gave it back. So I have a full access to Grok. And so I said, well, I'll try Rudy. And I said, hey, Rudy, how's it going? And Rudy, I thought it was supposed to be a kid's character, said, oh, I'm just having a great time. I'm going to go teabag the mayor. I said, what?
There's bad Rudy and then there's normal Rudy.
No, but they didn't have a distinction on day one. And I said, what mayor? He said, whatever mayor you want. I can't wait to teabag him. I said, what the? I actually, we had to censor it. I was doing it on one of the shows. We had to edit. We had to bleep it out. It was so bad.
It's so.
Then, by the way,
lame.
the next day, Rudy became like a kid's thing. But I somehow got bad Rudy.
I had bad Rudy and I talked to bad Rudy and I was just like, I don't find your insults all that clever. And he's like, your insults aren't clever. I'm super awesome. And I was like,
you are, but what am I?
Basically, and I was like, you kind of insult like a 12-year-old boy. He's like, no, you insult like a 12-year-old boy.
I know
awesome.
I am, but what are you?
So smart.
Trained
like,
up
I'm
Pee-wee
so
Herman.
smart. You're the lame one.
I was trained on Elon Musk. He's got a 12-year-old.
He does. That's Elon's sense of humor is what it is.
Yeah, it was unimpressive.
So
at least.
NPR said, and they were right, that Elon has decided to take the. I remember when I went down to get my Model X. This was back when Tesla was still cool in 2015. It had just come out, and they said, "You want the factory tour of the Fremont factory?" I said, "Oh yeah." And we got in a golf cart, and they gave us a tour. And I was I'm going to admit this, and I'm ashamed to admit it now, but I was teary-eyed. I was very, at the time, moved by his vision. And by the way, we're learning that studies have shown that in areas where EVs are widespread, pollution has abated considerably. So they do make a difference. And I was really kind of turned on by this. I realize it now that I was mistaken. That factory,
that was before his brain fully broke, but
it was something. He was. We didn't know. We thought he was. A Marvel character.
I think all the ketamine just kind of built up on him after a while, and like it was the diver
I thought
thing.
I was seeing Stark Industries. So this is changing the world, and I didn't know.
We're doing True Confessions in 2011 for Men's Journal. I was assigned a profile of Elon Musk. At first, it was going to pay attention to Tesla, but then Wired came out with something around Musk and Tesla, so they changed it to SpaceX. So I actually got to spend 2 days, one in the West Coast, one in DC with him. And I'm telling you, I'm a wise ass New Yorker, and he's whatever you want to describe him, just a wise ass or an ass, whatever. He was funny and personable. We had a good time. He gave me the keys to what was the first Tesla? The
Roadster.
Roadster.
It's just like I felt like a conspicuous idiot on 280 in this bright red thing. I'm kind of almost sitting on the highway. It's so low, but it was a rocket ship. 0 to 60 in 2 seconds or something. But I really enjoyed him, and I realized that at that point, he told me he was in quotes down to his last 4 million. He'd made 200 million or whatever from PayPal. He's down to his last 4 million. I joke with him dude, I'm not up to my first 4 million yet. But but for him,
to his credit, he bet the bank. He went all in on those investments.
On SpaceX and Tesla,
yeah.
And neither were working. I mean, at that point, it wasn't clear if either was going to work. And so he was more humble. He was more modest, or at least it wasn't a cocky ass. At that point. And ketamine, I don't know what it is. To me, my theory, Devendra, is that, he just, success went to his head. He is, Tony Stark. He is the most brilliant human being on Earth. To his mind, he can solve anything. Oh, politics? Yeah, sure, I can do that. That's easy. Kind of thing. And and people were worshiping him, right? I mean, he did give him credit. He didn't invent Tesla, but he helped popularize it and help popularize,
the guys who invented it hadn't even created a model. I mean, it was just an idea that he bought. He did kind of write them out of the story, but to be fair, he was the one who built a car.
Yeah. You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, and I was, I was really happy to buy a Tesla. The Model X almost killed me several times, but we got rid of it after a few years.
It's funny. I still see the Model X at daycare pickup because I live in a town where people have fancy cars.
The doors go. It's good for kids.
That's the dumbest design for a door with kids, though, because when you have kids, you have stuff on the side of the car doors. You have water bottles and stuff. It's that is a completely useless actual
it was
mechanism
worse than that because
having kids. Yeah.
If it rained It would trap water in the door, and then you'd open the gull wing door, and there'd be a waterfall in the crack. You had to wait till the water abated, and then you could get out. It hit my wife in the head so many times that eventually we had to have a protocol that before I hit the door, because there was one button that closed all the doors, I would go, doors are closing in 5 seconds, 4, so she could get out of the way. It was supposed to have sensors. It didn't. It steered her into the median strip many times. She had to grab the wheel. And the thing she always talks about is, for some reason, I don't know why, it decided that the seat would adjust when she got in the car to squeeze her against the steering wheel. It was like the Star Wars crash compactor. She was like, get me out of here. And I said, oh, it's not doing that, until it happened to me. And then
did she program, or no, it was just a bug?
It was a bug. It was what I realized at the time. It's a golf cart with a very fancy, buggy computer controlling it. And
I'm just saying, like, whenever we talk about Musk now, over the last year, and certainly after the spate of like CSAM stuff and the nude image generation, you can't take this guy seriously, or any of this stuff.
It's turning out he really did go to the island. He said, "Oh, I never went to the island." Well, those emails seem pretty incriminating.
No, well, he was begging to go. Like it's even sadder. He was begging.
Goodness.
We're going to be in the area.
I don't think they let him. Even
Can we go to the island?
Didn't want to hang out with him.
No, Epstein said I will send a helicopter for you.
Yeah.
I think if you reach a certain level of monetary success, you have to get bullied every week by a teenage girl just to keep them humble.
You need somebody to say no to you.
No, this is the problem with the tech billionaires. Yeah. They're isolated. They're in a bubble. It's just like, you're brilliant. Thank you. You're God's gift kind of thing. And then a little humility would do most of the work.
We need to assemble the meanest 14-year-old girls on the planet.
Yes.
And once you reach a certain level of wealth, you have to go every week.
Dad.
And like just get brutalized for an hour.
Yeah.
And that you just need to be humbled.
I think that is why he bought Twitter, though. Like, people were yelling at him on Twitter so much, he was like, okay, that's it. I'm buying this and making it my playground now, basically.
That's why it has to be 14-year-old girls.
Yep.
Because they can't be bought. And they just have to, like...
Unless you've got a Labubu. And then maybe you could...
No, just pay them in Labubus. They'll do it for one Labubu.
Anyway, production-ready Optimus robots are coming soon.
Coming soon. That soon is doing a lot of work in that sense. But go ahead.
It will reveal its Gen 3 robot in the first quarter of this year, according... But, Elon, this is the problem. You can't believe anything any of these companies, Elon's companies, say, because he's been saying all sorts of crazy stuff that never comes true. He said Tesla produced 5,000 robots in 2025. They did not. He said they're going to make preparations for the first production line. That's what the Model X line in Fremont's going to be devoted to. And they're going to start in this quarter, make Optimus robots there. Who's going to buy an Optimus? He says,
how much are they roughly? Like a few hundred?
10,000?
Okay.
I don't know. Most of these bipedal robots are in the $10,000 plus range, right?
Okay. All I'm going to say is that my colleague Allison at CES came upon a bipedal robot that was dancing, and just like a whole crowd was following it because it was trying to like get people to follow it. And it was punching the air, and it was punching the air so violently it knocked itself out and just fell down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great.
boy. Yeah. We had Jennifer Pattison Toohey on a few weeks ago. She was at CES, and one of the robots fell on her.
Yes, we were. We saw the footage. It was really funny because our video guy Andrew was just like totally just filming it and got the funniest clip of it. And she was just like, "He didn't help me at all." And it's like, Andrew knew
the cameras must roll.
He had to get the content. But I actually have some footage of Jen trying to shake hands with one of these robots, and it just like couldn't do it for a while, and then when it did, it just pulled her hand down like in a pretty like violent way, and I was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" But yeah, so I'm
an early adopter. I've confessed, but there's no way I'm having a 200-pound machine that could crush me walking around my house doing the dishes or making the bed.
The Model X could have crushed you or crashed you many, many times. And you
tried. God knows.
But at least that is functionally a car, right? Yeah. That's at least a thing that drives. These humanoid robots, they're supposed to like help you, and we're just not at that.
They're just not even close to being able to do that. So I don't know.
Nothing's gonna,
why he thinks this year there's gonna be a market for these.
Because he can just say things. He could just say things. But it's funny, stuff. Like over at Engadget, like several of our reporters have also been injured or attacked by these robots. So it's like there are many stories of these things not working well, and there aren't many of them out there. Wow. So it seems like a bad sign.
Right. So I did mention AI, SpaceX made $8 billion profit in 2025. Microsoft also had a very good quarter, made a lot of money, and their stock just tanked. Just tanked, which is the strangest thing. They made 81.
Say the thing, Leo. Why? Why did it tank?
AI spending?
Well, okay, you say AI spending, but Meta, which has this ad campaign about we're just going to invest $600 billion or something, and data centers and all that stuff, their stock went up. I mean, so it's not just
it's confusing.
It's just not a reaction to like AI over the backlash on Wall Street. I mean, I was thinking about this, like it's a software company, and that's kind of, Claude Code. Well, why are we going to need software companies? Its PC sales went down, no big deal, right? Like I think of their 80 billion they made in the quarter, 50 billion was from cloud, and so obviously that's a much bigger part of the company than it was. In the old days, it was Windows and Office were the two cash cows that were responsible for most of the money they generated. So is it PCs? Is it because it's a software company? It made no sense to me.
They deserve some credit though from pivoting from Office and Windows to the cloud and successfully, obviously. They made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Net profit was up by like 23%. Yeah. That's a huge increase in profit.
The cloud has been like killing them, like killing for them for years. Right. And that was a smart thing. And then the thing
they should get some credit for that.
No,
I think Leo, they get a ton of credit for that. Yeah.
No. So it's funny. I've been writing about Microsoft since the late 1990s.
They were stagnant, weren't they?
Under Steve Ballmer, basically, their stock price was stuck at $25 a share. Talking about earnings, I had to do earnings reports about Microsoft for the New York Times in the mid-2000s. I hated that. And it was so boring. And like Nadella took over, and the stock has literally gone up 10x, more than 10x under Nadella in 10 years. So, to Devandra's point, it has been getting its due. It went up to 500 a share and it fell down to 425 or something like that a share. And to me, it is because of this amazing pivot they did to the cloud. That their main revenue source is no longer Office, it's no longer Windows, it's the cloud. I mean, by a far margin.
The weakness now is that people are seeing all the money they basically invested in AI and not much is coming from it. So that was a part of the explanation of the stock hit there. And I also think Nadella has just been blinded by this stuff. Like there are a lot of reports. There was that story about like, oh man, he's using AI for everything. It's sort of like organizing his emails. It's summarizing podcasts for him.
Yeah, he doesn't listen to podcasts. He listens to summaries of podcasts.
Talk about living in he is living in a complete AI agent bubble at this point, or a co-pilot bubble. Yeah.
Becoming too interesting. Should he go back to being more boring?
He's still not.
He's very boring. He's very boring.
I mean, has he been getting a personality for pivoting? No. And people are like, oh no, he's getting a personality. No. Okay.
I think you said he was AI pilled.
He's kind of stepped back a little bit though, right? He isn't quite running the company anymore. The CFO, Amy Hood, really seems to be the person in charge at Microsoft.
No, didn't they name a new co-CEO?
Yeah, they did.
He could think big thoughts, and the other CEO can, run the. I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention.
That's straight out of The Office, by the way. That's straight out of The Office when they hired Jim and Michael to be the same job.
Assistant to the general manager.
No, the co-managers because Michael is useless.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on at Microsoft. Do you think, Gary, having covered Wall Street for so long, that there is the wisdom of the crowds when it comes to the stock market, that somehow the stock market reflects what's really going to happen?
I mean, generally speaking, I agree with that. But, the fact that Apple, which has totally whiffed AI, I mean, they sell a lot of AI of iPhones, but like they're not getting punished for it. Meta, which has kind of fumbled AI, they kind of went open source and then they moved back from that. They've had all this kind of turmoil of bringing in new people for AI, and yet its stock is going up when they're spending even more than Microsoft is, on data centers, on building out. Which, by the way, I don't think is the wrong bet. I think two things are true at once. One, Meta plus Microsoft plus Google, it's Amazon, etc., are overbuilding. On the other hand, I think they would be foolish not to be pouring all this money into AI, because if they, to my mind, and I guess Apple's the counterexample here, to my mind, if they missed AI, that's like $1 trillion mistake. Microsoft, before Nadella, missed the phone, bumbled the internet, missed the phone. And so they were making sure they're going to be in the conversation and on AI. So them spending tens of billions of dollars a year, to me, made sense, because missing would be $1 trillion mistake.
It's pure FOMO, though. Like, that's like I'm the one covering a lot of Microsoft stuff over at Engadget too. And like, that's what it comes down to. Like, every time I'm talking to their executives, I'm like, this ain't working. Why are you trying to sell this to me? And over the last a few years, they've been like, it's getting better. It's getting better. Recent conversations tell me that they are very aware of the flaws, and people do not want to see agentic AI in their Windows. They just want Windows to work. So there may be more of a doubling down this year on like the fundamentals for Microsoft, but there is no there in terms of what they're chasing for AI. Everyone is desperate, right? Gemini only exists because OpenAI and the whole Bing chat thing happened so quickly that it gave Microsoft and OpenAI so much clout. Gemini stumbled immediately. Everyone is saying Apple failed or is missing out on AI. Sure, you can say that now, but they're not the ones like overspending on a lot of this stuff in the same way these other companies are. And I'm really intrigued by what Apple could do, because what Apple does, right, is they step back, they let the market kind of play out for a bit and see what happens. And if they can give us a personal AI assistant type of thing that is safer, that is not so reliant on the cloud and things you can't directly control, that could be the way that works for them.
Yeah, maybe they actually won by losing.
I'm saying that, basically.
The 2 billion, the number was one of the articles you shared. They 2.5 billion iPhones, something like that.
2.5 billion devices. So that's not just iPhones; it's all Apple devices. But Tim Cook did say it was a staggering quarter for iPhone sales. It was their best ever, a record-breaking quarter. Revenue of $143 billion, which is up 16% year over year.
Listen, they introduced Orange. That's why.
I'm telling you, an orange phone, it's so always the right color.
Yeah.
So good.
I don't know why I bought an orange phone.
It
looks great. I think it's pretty. It's different, right?
It's different. It's different.
I mean, it's different. To move off color, to Devinder's point, I look at Google. So, in 2023, they fumbled every time on AI. They came up with Bard, then they changed the name. There's embarrassing stuff. Put glue on your pizza, use gasoline to spice up your spaghetti sauce. All these embarrassing things. But billions of people use Google. Google has $100 billion.
Gemini is now one of the top models, right?
That's my point. That's my point. Google spent 2023 and 2024 blowing it, and in 2025, their model is almost as popular as ChatGPT because they're Google, because they have all the data in the world, they have all the money in the world, but more important, they have all the reach in the world. And Apple is the same way. I'm with you, Devindra. They've been losing, they've been blowing it, and I'm not counting them out.
The other thing is, Apple has always just had this cachet of cool that the other companies don't have. And I do think that people are much more forgiving of that because, green bubble versus blue bubble, just the look of Apple products, Android fans will forever be screaming that they did it first. And iPhone users will always just go, yeah, but Apple did it better. So I just think they're not allowed, but they're able to kind of flub it on AI to an extent that these other companies cannot, just because
it's
they
really
have that cachet.
Gary, you brought this up, that Microsoft got punished for its CapEx, its capital expenditures on AI and data centers. Meta said they're going to spend $135 billion this year on AI infrastructure, and they got rewarded. But I think maybe they got rewarded not for AI, but because they're doing so well in advertising.
Yeah, they're an advertising company.
They're an ad agency.
Sure.
It went up go ahead.
They're cutting back on virtual reality stuff too. So they announced a whole bunch of those cutbacks, a whole bunch of layoffs, and like the story now is we're focusing on AI gadgets. That makes Wall Street happy because it seems like they're moving forward and away from the things losing money, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Isn't that sad, though?
I think they still said that we're planning to lose the same amount on VR this year as last year.
Like 8 billion, I mean, crazy huge number. I mean, someone added up like the 100 billion or whatever. I'm making that number up. I can't remember it. But they've lost a preposterous amount of money.
70 billion, I think. It was around 70 billion so far.
What's interesting is that they can afford to. That's actually, in some ways, that's the important part of the story is they make so much money in advertising. Yeah, so what?
It's insane, though, because if you really think about it, the AI gadgets, like, they're doing well, right, on these Meta Ray-Bans, and now they have just released the Ray-Ban. No, they're doing well on the Ray-Ban Metas, and someone there was real stupid and named the one with the display the
Ray-Ban Meta display, or Meta Ray-Ban, yeah.
But,
do you have either of those?
I have all of them. I have all of them. Well, because I'm doing long-term testing on them, so I wear them intermittently because I'm testing so many AI glasses at this point. Then I only have one face, so it's very difficult. Very difficult to test them, especially since, like, I don't know if you can tell, but my glasses are incredibly thick. So I have to manage when I'm using contact lenses, when I'm doing all this physical strain on it's a whole thing. But so I do have the glasses, but they are subsidizing these glasses by a crazy amount. Like, it's an $800 pair of glasses with a display in them. Most people are not going to go buy that for a niche gadget unless they're early adopters. So Meta is pretty much subsidizing a lot of the AI glasses that they are putting out there. So it's sort of just like, yes, they make a lot in advertising. They can spend all of this money, but I think there's a limit to how much they can actually do that, because if this doesn't take off, this is just going to be another gamble of theirs that, like, we made fun of them for the longest time about the metaverse. And I do think that there's going to be a backlash with smart glasses in the not too distant future.
It's already happening, like privacy wise, or like concerts or bars or places where they're like,
or just
are you wearing
men harassing women. Harassing women on college campuses.
Men ruin everything, don't they? Gosh darn it. So this is the information Martin Peers writing. What did we learn? What did we learn from Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla from the earnings? I don't know. What did we? Did we learn anything? But he says the bottom line for both companies: growth is important, but the cost of the growth is even more important. Maybe that's the lesson: is don't throw away your money. I don't know. I don't know what we learned.
But Microsoft's profits, year over year, their net income is way, way up.
Yeah, hugely.
So they're
successful.
making
a lot more money. A couple of $1 billion a week.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, there's a lot of things that their whole Xbox division is going down in flames, right? Things that are been tied to Microsoft that in the public mind, for a lot of people, Microsoft is failing because they don't like what's happening in Windows. They hate what's happening in Xbox. So it's different stories depending on the audience.
That's a really good point. Yeah. That all of the traditional strengths of Microsoft are failing, and they're gambling big time on this new thing. And maybe the market says, that's why I was asking, is there some wisdom in this crowd? I mean, I know they also think that, GameStop is going.
But it's also like, isn't this more evidence of like the decoupling of company value to actual profits? Like, those aren't coupled anymore. Like, you don't, your company doesn't get more valuable if you make more money.
The stock market is pretty much imaginary is what it is. That's what it is.
It's vibes. Half of it is vibes.
It's vibes. It's vibes. It's vibes. It's all vibes. All right, we're going to take a little break, come back with the good vibes of this fabulous panel. Gary Rivlin is here, author of AI Valley, A History of AI in the Silicon Valley. Just look at all his books behind him. Over his left shoulder, look at all that. You wrote all of those. And apparently you've got many copies too, so that's good. That's good.
The ones that didn't sell, right? Let's go back to you don't necessarily get rich from writing those.
Those are the author's copies. You get some authors. You have a good publisher that gives you author's copies. I like that. I have one copy of each of my books on the bookshelf, so that's more than enough. Although I have to read this later. I got a letter from a prisoner at Farmingham State Prison in Missouri. I occasionally get, and it's nice because they handwrite them because they don't have any other way of sending letters. But I'll read it at the end of the show. It was a very sweet letter, but one of the things he said is, our prison bookstore has your 2003 Technology Almanac. Which I'm very, very happy to know that the library at the Farmingham Correctional Center has, it's a small library, he says. They have one row of nonfiction books, and one of them is my almanac. So there you go. You see, that's true fame, my friends. Okay. We're going to take a break. Devendra Hardawar is also here from Engadget, and Victoria's song from The Verge. Our show today brought to you by my mattress. I feel very well rested because I sleep on our sponsor's mattress, the Helix Sleep. I learned, Lisa and I found out a few months ago, I was reading on, one of these articles that said you should get a new mattress every 8 to 10 years. Because who knew this? Mattresses wear out. And I was thinking, it has been a little saggy lately. It hasn't been as comfortable as it was. So we went out and we started doing some mattress shopping. And I looked at all the reviews and I came up with one, and I'm really glad I did, the Helix Sleep. I spend a lot of time on my mattress, not just for sleeping. I mean, your mattress is where you might curl up with a good book, or with your little dog or your cat. Your mattress is where you maybe lean back and watch some TV, a little Netflix, and chill. It's important, especially in the cold months. We're spending more times indoors. It's important to have a good mattress. Maybe now is the perfect time for you. How long has your mattress been with you? Invest in a new mattress. You spend more than a third of your life on that thing. You owe it to yourself. Invest a little bit and get a nice mattress. And I got to tell you, this is a nice mattress. No more night sweats. No back pain from a saggy mattress. No motion transfer. It used to be the cat would jump on the bed and I go, earthquake, earthquake. Not anymore. Don't settle for a mattress made overseas either. I mean, there are a few of them with low quality, questionable materials. They've just spent the last 6 months in a container ship and they smell like it. Not Helix. Your Helix mattress is assembled, packaged, and shipped from Arizona in the US of A within days of placing your order. They make them to order. So it's fresh and beautiful. And we did what I would recommend. They have on the website, helixsleep.com/twit, a sleep quiz, because they have a variety of mattresses depending on your preferences and your sleep style. I'm a side sleeper. I like a firm mattress. You might like a soft mattress. So you do the quiz, and then they'll recommend which mattress. Now, I have to say, the mattress we got is the best I've ever had. So comfortable. And they've got the studies to prove it. They did a Wesper sleep study. Helix measured the sleep performance of people just like us who switched from their old mattress to a Helix mattress. And here's some of the results. 82% of the participants saw an increase in their deep sleep cycle. That's the most important. It's maybe only an hour a night out of the whole 8 hours of sleep or whatever. But it is the most important for clearing out the whatever it is in your brain. It's really important for your long-term health. 82% saw an increase in the cycle and on average 25 more minutes of deep sleep a night. Participants on average achieve 39 more minutes of overall sleep per night. So you'll sleep better, you'll sleep longer, you'll wake up feeling great, and it's so important for your health and your state of mind. And as I mentioned, the reviews have been so good. Time and time again, Helix Sleep remains the most awarded mattress brand. Helix Sleep. Just look, Forbes, Wired, consistently #1. Martha Stewart. Helix delivers your mattress right to your door, as I said, from Arizona. Free shipping in the U.S. You can rest easy, get it, with seamless returns and exchanges. They call it the Happy with Helix Guarantee, a risk-free customer-first experience because they really care about your experience. They want to ensure you're completely satisfied with your new mattress. We are. In fact, there's no way they're getting it back. I am not returning this mattress. Go to helixsleep.com/twit. for 20% off site-wide during their New Year's sale, the final hours. That's helixsleep.com/twit for 20% off the New Year's sale, final hours. This offer ends today. If it ends at February 1st, make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. And if you're listening after the sale ends, do check them out. helixsleep.com/twit and use that address so they know you saw it here. Helix, Helix, sleep.com/twit. Twit. We love them. We love them. So Apple did have good quarterly results, but that has not, it's not all been smooth sailing for Apple. This week they announced, this seems greedy, that they are going to take a 30% cut from all Patreon creators in the iOS app by November. So you've got a little time, but November 1st, 2026, Patreon is not happy. If you use the Patreon legacy billing model, in other words, you're paying through iOS, Apple's going to take its 30% cut. I guess, they're giving Patreon time to move customers off of that. The company says it will switch. They said it would switch creators to subscription billing in November, and the creators could choose, this is November 2024, 2 years ago, could choose whether to increase their subscription prices to cover Apple's fees. Did you do that? Did you? No. In addition, creators could opt to delay changes until November of last year if you need more time. Anyway, I think this is a shame. Patreon's not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And creators are not happy.
It's also like of all the, it's one thing to tax, I think, big companies, whatever you want. But like,
this is rent seeking, isn't it? This is just.
Yeah. It's also just like the average creator is not huge. You're basically squeezing people who are doing side hustles, a little extra cash on the side, doing projects. It just feels unnecessary. I don't know.
The Apple tax on creators, not on Patreon itself, but on creators. We actually, our club goes through Memberful, which is a Patreon company. I don't know how this would affect us. Actually, I haven't really looked into it.
Yeah. I mean, most people don't. Most Patreon members.
They subscribe on the website, right? So Apple doesn't take that money.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they want you to do.
And I mean, this has impacted every other streaming service too, like Google plans and Netflix plans. Like you pay a couple bucks more if you're doing it from within the iOS or Apple subscription thing sometimes. So that's how they've handled it. But those are big companies. It's very different here.
And then there's been a little bit of heat on Tim Cook, who the day of Alex Pretty's shooting elected to go see the premiere of Melania the movie at the White House, and was seen on Brett Ratner, the director's Instagram, palling around with the director, who's been accused of harassment and other sexual crimes. Not a good look for Tim Cook, huh?
That's his qualification in this administration.
That's why he's did the movie. Yeah, and I mean, everybody said, look, that's a $75 million bribe from Amazon to the president. I mean, Amazon's going to lose money on this movie.
Have you been reading the reviews? It's worth going out and reading the review. The Guardian just had one I read today.
What did they say?
Just actually the one I remember, and this might have been
it's Melania getting out of cars, opening doors.
They say if you
going to another door,
if you like the idea of watching Melania Trump choose her outfit for the inauguration, you're gonna love this movie.
I gotta check this on Letterboxd because the reviews on Letterboxd are.
Oh yeah, there'll be a little. Yeah, the movie opened this week. I don't know how the ticket sales have been. I haven't seen the box office yet.
By the way, you asked my favorite was like, if Jeffrey Epstein had seen this, he would have killed himself kind of joke. It's not that bad. Yeah. But, I mean, I kind of love documentaries, just generally speaking.
I do too. I like seeing inside people's lives. Yeah.
There was a Mary Tyler Moore one I watched, and she has a drinking problem. It was made by loved ones, and so it was made lovingly. But there was the reveal. It was complicated. It was three-dimensional. What they're saying, Ben Stiller did one about his parents, which again, they loves his parents, but like there was tension. One pushed the other to keep on going, and there was drinking, and all that kind of stuff, and like it was really heartfelt. And what they're saying about this is just like the review, The Guardian, I think it was, said like she's perfectly made up in every scene. There's just never an unguarded moment.
Yeah. That's Melania in a nutshell. It's all product. At the beginning of her new documentary, The Guardian writes, Melania tells the viewer that, quote, everybody wants to know how she spends her time. So here it is, she says, 20 days in my life. At New York, the Guardian, at New York's one of New York's busiest movie theaters on Friday, the crowd was sparse. Precisely 12 people had shown up to watch Melania at an AMC theater near Times Square, at least half of whom were journalists reviewing the movie.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it wasn't intended to be a success.
The top review on Letterboxd is Melania will return in the Epstein files.
Oh, God. There you go.
True.
So
Also
Tim
true.
Cook goes to the premiere at the White House. We know why, right? Every
He's
CEO
got boots to lick. So
feels like they've got to lick the boot.
Kiss.
Yeah.
And it's so
Kiss the
easy.
ring.
I write $1 million check. I show up at the White House 3 times a year, and you know, I'm on the good side of a guy who could hurt me. You know, for tariffs or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were talking about this on Mac Break Weekly on Tuesday, and one of the hosts said, "Look what happened when Tim Cook didn't go to Saudi Arabia with the president. The president talked about it the whole time. Where's Tim Cook? Tim Cook's not here. You know." So a few days after the movie, he did write a memo, which was sent to Apple employees. Mark Gurman, of course, got a copy, the tipster at Bloomberg. Cook says, I'm heartbroken by the events in Minneapolis. This is a time for de-escalation. I know this is very emotional and challenging for many. I'm proud of how deeply our teams care about the world beyond our walls. It's pretty anodyne. He's heartbroken. Okay.
And I'm sure he shared his thoughts with the president that day.
Yeah, did he? Yeah.
He said, I had a good conversation with the president this week where I shared my views, and I appreciate his openness to engaging on issues that matter to us all.
What do you think? I would love to have been a fly on the wall in that conversation.
I think he said what he thinks, and Trump went, okay, Timmy.
Okay, Mr. Apple.
Yeah. And also, he can't really say what he really thinks, right?
No, he can't.
This is the guy that gave Trump that golden plaque. Yeah. And that whole, I replay that whole press conference in my head quite a bit. I'm like, where did we go wrong here? Where did Tim Cook go wrong here? Because the question people keep asking is like, what would Steve Jobs do in this situation? I'm like, I feel like in this case, that rapscallion, Steve Jobs, would at least not do this. Yeah. And it is disgusting to see. We know why, because he has to fight for Apple, right? He has to make sure Apple
is he doing the right thing? That's the really.
He's doing everything right for Apple stockholders, probably. What
about Apple customers? Do you think that? How do you think they feel about it?
I think most of them are not aware of what's happening too, right?
They don't care.
Most people are not in the news cycle. It's just us. It's media people and people who pay way too much attention to tech, but. There is a deep moral cost here to all of this. It is really sad to see. I don't expect much from tech CEOs, but Tim Cook seemed like somebody who at least was trying to guide Apple in a way that was a little more morally righteous than what the Google folks did or how Mark Zuckerberg works. And this is all just absolutely disgusting. Yeah.
You know, and just kind of a personal way, like in my head, you know, kind of reaching the top, whatever it is in our world, to be a famous columnist or something like that. In this world, we're talking about the CEO of a big company, you're worth billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. Like you have your FU money, but you don't get to say FU. It's just like weird. Like to me, the whole advantage of being like super wealthy is I don't have to care what you think. I mean, I want to be a nice human, but other than that, I'm going to share my thoughts because I don't have to worry about the repercussions. I look at Zuckerberg, I look at Altman, I look at Cook, I look at Bezos, and I know none of them believe in much of what they're saying, or at least what they're embracing. But it's just, I don't know. The billionaires are disappointing me.
Do you think that's why Tim Cook is apparently looking at retiring, is that he would like to be able to tell the truth?
Well, I had an editor a long time ago who, he was a very profound guy, but one of the things he said was to live with integrity comes at a high personal cost.
Yes.
And I think when you get to a point of being a CEO, it's just like, I think they tell themselves that they're responsible for all the people underneath them, so it's not about them, and to an extent that's true. But it's like the higher you go, the greater the personal cost is to live with integrity. And so I think many of them just don't do it. They decide to like stay quiet, because if you look at all the stories in history.
No, but I wish he remained silent. Right? I mean, like, he's not remaining silent. He's not just remaining on the sidelines. He's very much involved. He's showing up at the Melania thing. That's a real endorsement. You know, it's not like he was showing up because tech CEOs were asked to kind of weigh in on some issue. You know, this is the president's wife, and, you know, I don't know. I know what you're saying, and you're right that as a CEO, well, as shareholder value, I don't have the freedom to do this, but, you know.
As it says in the Gospels, as it says in Mark, what profiteth a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?
It's just a complete lack of backbone. There's no spine seeing in it. And it's just like, you know, back in the days, I think when I was growing up, there were a lot of people who would say like, well, if the Nazis came again, like, I wouldn't be the one to like kowtow. Like, I wouldn't be that person. Like, what would you think would happen?
Yeah, but would you?
And it's very easy to say, because it's happening in our country now. And all the people that, you know, you would think to look up to, the leaders of our society, well, they're rolling over. And America has always prided itself in bringing down the Nazis and being a bastion of freedom. But you see the billionaires just like, you know, having morals.
Not just billionaires, many good Germans. Many.
Yeah.
So people in power in general. I want to point out, like, this happened before. IBM sold to the Nazis. IBM powered the database for the Nazis. Ford really supported them quite a bit. So he believed it.
He was an anti-Semite, right? Yeah.
So in my head, I have three buckets. Like, you know, on one end, you've got, you know,
that's quite an image, by the way.
I have three buckets, and I'm going to show you
each
three
buckets.
Yeah. So in my head, okay, deserve that. I put the CEOs in three buckets. You know, on one hand, you know, you've got like whatever, Peter Thiel, David Sachs, like, you know, the Paul Malucki, the true believers, right? And, okay, of course, they're embracing Trump. This is what they believe in.
Moral monsters, yes.
In the other, you know, bucket, you've got, you know, Sam Altman and Tim Cook. Like, they know who this guy is. He's a buffoon. He's egotistical. He's, you know, narcissist, whatever. And they're just playing the game. You know, the bucket I'm most interested in, the people in the middle, like Mark Andreessen to me is a perfect example of this. He's become, maybe Greg Brockman, I don't know him as well as a character. But, you know, it's like they've totally embraced like, oh, this is good for America. Like, no. Biden had gentle rules about AI and was getting in your way and had very harsh rules about crypto. Trump came in and said, I'm going to have a laissez-faire view towards AI. In fact, I'm going to help fuel AI. And, you know, I'm going to have a laissez-faire view towards crypto. And of course, he embraced it. It's good for your bottom line. It's in a way, the people in that middle bucket who are pretending like this is great for America. I love Donald Trump. Like, no, Donald Trump's really good for your portfolio companies, Mr. Andreessen, and that is why you have fully embraced Donald Trump.
There are other things. Mr. Andreessen has believed, right? He has gone fully down the sort of like white supremacist belief system too. So like there are things people are aligning with this administration, which are there's economic reasons. There's also like societal reasons. People like are letting their fascist flags fly, and they feel.
Do you think we really ever would know what Mark Zuckerberg, for instance, really thinks? Though, I mean,
no, he's a robot.
It doesn't. It's also doesn't just matter. Like I don't care what he thinks because his actions supersede that.
He has a lot of power. That's why you should care what he thinks. He has a lot of power. Doesn't he?
Well, I mean, his actions are that he is a spineless slug, like we've been talking about. Like the minute he faced repercussions for banning Trump from his platform after January 6th, which Trump, you know, followers were responsible for, and he ever since then with this new administration, he has been groveling. He's given up on DEI. He's given up on his nonprofit endeavors with his wife. Like whatever thing he actually believed can disappear. It's like heat, right? He sees the heat around the corner. He drops everything in a minute because he doesn't really stand for anything. Yeah.
He wrote a $20 million check, you know, to kind of like get rid of the lawsuit. Another is just like Amazon and the Melania thing. It's just a bribe. It's just a payment to the president, you know, to get on his good side. And
did you guys see the thing about the spy chic? That's not in the story thing, but that thing dropped yesterday.
What's the spy chic?
The spy chic. An investment of like $500 million from somebody to get access, I believe somebody from Saudi Arabia, but to get access to AI chips. $500 million directly to Trump's
to the crypto. Yes.
Thing. Yeah.
This is from the Wall Street Journal. Yeah.
Yeah. $500 million.
Sheikh Tanoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the UAE purchased a 49% stake in the Trump family's World Liberty Financial, according to the Wall Street Journal.
That seems bad.
That is bad.
And right after that, weirdly, I'm sure it's a coincidence, the U.S. agreed to give the UAE access to 500,000 of the most advanced AI chips. I was really wondering why that happened. Should I have been surprised?
It's all the grift. It's all the grift. Like, if you look at what's happening in the administration, it's all about how they can fill their pockets. But you look at the rest of the industry too, it's about how they can align themselves with that evil kid from that episode of The Twilight Zone who could just wish things to happen, right?
The sad thing,
that's where we are.
Is that all these companies have enough money and they have enough power behind them that if they decided that they wanted to have a backbone and to do anything, I'm sure that it could influence things in a different way.
Apple could
decide, they just decide to take the easy spot for them. And I get that. That's kind of like the modus operandi when the only religion this country really has is money. But it just feels... Yeah. It doesn't feel good.
Doesn't feel. If Tim Cook actually did that, he wouldn't have been able to stand up and say, "We had the best quarter ever for iPhones." Right? It would have been like, "Hey, we took a hit this year because I didn't, kiss the ring this one time," and he may get fired from the board. But also, I don't know. After a certain point, isn't that kind of what we should do?
It is. Yeah. It's just like, again, integrity comes at great personal cost. Yes. And most people don't want, most people, if the cost is their fortunes and their power and their influence, I think it takes a pretty singular and strong person with a very ironclad moral compass to make that sacrifice. And I just think, looking at the tech CEOs, I don't think any of them are those people.
Yep.
Yeah, a few. Vinod Khosla came out when Keith Raboy kind of said, basically they deserve to be killed in Minneapolis. Khosla came out. I guess Reid Hoffman just had an editorial it's time for tech to speak. In fact, I'm really curious. I bet you if I called Reid Hoffman right now, he would say he got 10 times, 100 times more private messages saying right on, you're right, than people who actually went to X or LinkedIn or whatever to make some kind of statement.
Khosla is surprising, right? Because he's not a guy with a reputation of being nice to people in general. He's the guy who kicked the public off of his private beach, right?
Right.
That's surprising that he even said anything. Yeah.
Well, nice.
He's a man of color, though. He's a man of color in this country right now.
Yeah.
But niceness and goodness don't have to be synonymous, that's New York, right? We're not nice people, but we're kind people in New York.
Yep. Good.
So maybe that's...
Oh, sorry.
It's absolutely true, but yeah.
Yeah, he and Elon got in a little battle on X this week, Khosla.
Khosla?
Yeah.
Missed that one.
Yeah.
What was it about?
Exchanged heated remarks on the social media platform X, accusing Musk of promoting racism. Musk in turn fired back with insults directed to Khosla while referencing his past effort to restrict public access to a nearby beach.
He was a rich asshole. He can be a rich asshole.
Who was without sin cast the first stone. Wow, I am on a tear. This is my second biblical reference in one show, and I am not known for my biblical references. Meanwhile,
preach.
Khosla defended his actions regarding his $37 million beach estate as a matter of private property rights. He also responded to Musk's post on Wednesday saying, "Try not tweeting seemingly racist stuff next time." Musk said, "Vinod, you're not such a pompous asshole that you tried to stop the public from using a public beach near your house. You've gone full retard. Nice job, Elon. You got it all in."
Elon this is why we can't take him seriously anymore.
My partner Siobhan is half Indian, and my eldest son with her he has a few.
Which partner?
Which one of them is named in honor of the great Indian physicist Chandrasekhar.
It's great.
Some of my best friends.
Some of my best friends are Indian. Oh, Lord. Anyway, yeah. Billionaires behaving badly.
There's also scales of bad behavior. Like kicking people off your beach, yeah, that sucks. But is that anywhere even close to like the bad behavior that Musk has? Like, it's not even close. There's scales to this.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Actually, before we do,
I want to take a break from many things, Leo. Yeah.
Many things. Before we do, I do want to ask Victoria, because she does cover this beat. Meta is being sued over the Ray-Ban products by Solos. Mm-hmm. Solos has also a smart glasses, and they say that Meta has infringed on their patents. Is there any merit to that, do you think?
Well, I think the thing that we can take away from all of this is that once patent wars start happening in a category, it's sort of a sign that there's momentum there. Because if
there's money to be made now.
There's money to be made. There's stuff and I think in the last few months alone, we've seen kind of a spate of these smart glasses patent battles. So
do you like the Solos?
I actually haven't used them. I did get reached out to them as soon as they filed this. So that was, they were like, did you get it? And I was like, yes, I saw it.
On their website, they claim to have 100 patents on these smart eyewear tools.
I mean, okay, let's be real though. Like the fact that they're cropping up in the last year and especially within the last few months, like I think there have been 3 or 4 patent cases in the smart glasses space in the last 2 months or so, some against Meta, some against, there was one between Surreal and Vitcher, which are smaller players as far as mainstream knowledge goes. That is quite contentious at the moment between the two companies. And I think the main takeaway that the average person needs to have from the smart glass patent wars is that, it's a space that's gaining momentum.
It's real. Yeah.
It's real. Yeah. I think we'll see more from this space going forward because, smart rings have been embroiled in patent wars for the last 2 years, I want to say. iPhones and just phone makers are having patent wars left and right. It's sort of like, oh, congratulations, you can sit at the big kids table now, or maybe the medium kids table, I don't know. But you're kind of entering mainstream status once you get your baby's first 5 patent wars. And they're kind of there now. So yeah.
Let's take a little break, then we'll talk TikTok. TikTok, as we continue. Victoria's song is here from Engadget, the glasses queen.
Let's flip that one. She's from
The Verge. I'm sorry.
There's a war going on, Leo. Come on.
Is it really? Are you guys at war?
No, not anymore.
No.
You're sitting next to each other.
There used to be a war.
You kind of, you know what? Those are 2 of the tech blogs that have survived. There are not a lot of them.
Yeah.
Engadget
it weighs heavily on us.
Yeah.
It weighs heavily on us that we have survived.
Well, but it's because many of our colleagues are out of work or have had moved on. But congratulations, right, on the success of The Verge and Engadget. It's good.
Can I just say, as somebody I was covering tech from 95 to 2010, and I kind of moved on to other topics, Katrina, whatever. It's sort of amazing to me that these new sites. You guys, 404, they're really terrific. We didn't have any
I agree.
404 is amazing. Yeah. Too.
I mean, but yours too. Is the Verge. I was really impressed. I sort of went away for a while and I came back and stuff and okay, I knew TechCrunch and that was about it. It's just it really has kind of helped enrich. I think that it's critical. It's covering the industry, giving it its due, but also calling it to task when it needs to be called to task, doing the reviews. I don't know. I think I know it's been bumpy. There have been layoffs, and I'm sure it's painful. But with that said, I think it's quite the accomplishment that all these new media outlets exist and are filling this role that when I was covering tech really wasn't being filled at all.
How long have you been at Engadget, Devendra?
I mean, over 10 years, but Engadget's not new. Engadget's 20 years old.
It's ancient.
It started
I know.
Weblogs, right? The Verge is newer. But even then, it's the YouTubers, it's the self-owned folks like 404 who have small little outfits that can be nimble and do all sorts of cool stuff. They're really leading the way now. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you see big companies like CNET really kind of falter.
They're big.
Fall behind.
They're so big.
Yeah.
I mean, CNET's still CNET to an extent, and they're under Ziff now, so they're out from the Red Venture I don't even know what to call Red Venture, but from that, but
the red tent, I think we
all
call
private
it.
equity.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, CNET to me is a perfect example. Like, you know, I knew people work there. I have respect for it, but like, I don't think they're really calling big tech to task.
Not at all. In fact, they got busted for doing AI stories without telling anybody.
My colleague wrote that. Miyasato, she's wonderful.
Yes.
Like I'm the biggest fan of all the people I work with, but yeah, it's really important to us at The Verge actually that we do call big tech.
I think The Verge and Engadget, and it's not just because you guys are in the panel, but are two really, I agree with Gary, doing really good work, and I'm grateful because also. Yeah, you know, you do at The Verge have a paid, you know, subscription, which I pay for, premium. But both of you have stuff that most of the stuff is outside the paywall. That's fantastic. More and more of the content that I need is behind paywalls. I have to pay for Bloomberg and the Information and the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times and the Economist. It adds up. So much of this stuff's behind a paywall now. And I understand why. But you know. Thank you for doing the work.
It means a lot, though. Thank you. That's so nice to hear, because when you're in the trenches, it's just
no. You guys do a great job. And by the way, 404, absolutely. Tech Dirt, absolutely. Some of these little guys are really punching up. You know,
Paris Marks over at Tech Won't Save Us. Like that's a one-man operation.
Paris is amazing. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Let's take a little break. Then we're going to talk about the YouTuber who is now worth $6 billion. Is it funny money?
Talk about the future media. Yeah.
We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but we'll have more in just a bit. Our show today brought to you by this little doohickey here. This is a Thinkst Canary. What is it? What do you think? It looks like maybe it's an external USB drive, just a black box, until you see it's got an Ethernet connection and a power connection on the back. This, my friends, this is the Thinkst Canary. This is a honeypot. This is a brilliant security device. We talk about security a lot on all of our shows, and we say frequently, it's kind of only axiomatic, that security is a layered solution. You know, you probably have your perimeter defenses, your firewalls, you know, your smart appliances, that kind of thing. But do you have anything that will let you know if somebody has penetrated your defenses? Did you know that companies on average don't know they've been breached for 91 days? 3 months, the bad guys have free reign to wander around your network, exfiltrating information so they can blackmail you, putting little time bombs all over the place so they can ransomware you. It's vital that if somebody gets into your network, you know about it, and you know about it right away. And that's what this Thinkst Canary does. Now, I have a number of them. If you're a big bank, you might have hundreds. You scatter them around. Certainly every VLAN ought to have at least one or two. Now they're honeypots. They can be deployed in minutes, and they can impersonate anything. This is a Synology NAS. It could be a Windows server. It could be a Linux server. It could have every service turned on like a Christmas tree. It could have just one or two judiciously selected services. It could be an SSH server. It could be a SCADA device. I mean, these things can impersonate so many things. When I say impersonate, the impersonation is perfect. No hacker will know the difference. Down to the MAC address, the actual company MAC address, down to the UI, everything looks exactly like the real thing. But they're not. And if somebody is accessing one of these things, or, you know, by the way, you can use them to make lure files that look real too, like, spreadsheets. You can put them on your cloud. I have them on Google Docs. I have some spreadsheets called payroll information. If somebody opens one of those files or tries to access this fake internal SSH server, your Thinkst Canary will immediately tell you there's somebody in your network doing something they ought not do. No false alerts, just the alerts that matter. By the way, alerts any way you want it. Email, text, Slack. It supports webhooks, syslog, of course. Any way you want them. When you get that alert, though, you know it's time to pay attention. We've only had this thing go. I've had this thing for years. We've only had it go off once. One of our hosts had put a Western Digital NAS online that for some reason was going out and sniffing all our ports. Immediately, when I got the warning, I said, it's inside the house. I went and I found it. I knew exactly what port it was on and disconnected it. And that was the end of that. This is so valuable. Just choose a profile for your Things Canary device. It's so easy to do, by the way. You could change it anytime you want. Register it with a hosted console. You get monitoring and notifications. Then you sit back and relax. The minute an attacker has breached your network, starts snooping around, or a malicious insider, as soon as any adversary makes themselves known by accessing your Things Canary, you're going to get the alert. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the cost. And again, the number you have depends on the size of your operation. As a small business, we have about 5. Go to canary.tools/twit. $7,500 a year. You get 5 Things Canaries. You get your own hosted console. You get upgrades. You get support. You get maintenance. Oh, and if you use the offer code TWIT in the How Did You Hear About Us box, you also get 10% off. And not just for the first year, but for life, for as long as you have your Things Canaries. But if you're at all concerned, you should know they have a 2-month money-back guarantee, 60 days for a full refund. I should mention, we've been doing ads for these guys for 9 years now, and all that time, not one person has ever asked for the refund. Not one! Because once you get this Things Canary, you're going to say, how did I live with that? Visit canary.tools/twit. Don't forget the offer code TWIT in the How Did You Hear About Us box. Canary.tools/twit. Thank you, Things Canary, not only for supporting our shows, but for supporting our security. We really appreciate it. The trial of the century began this week. A social media trial in Los Angeles. Jury selection began in Los Angeles Superior Court. Some of the biggest tech companies, Meta, Instagram, ByteDance, TikTok, Google's YouTube. The lawsuit says they deliberately addict and harm children. Now, TikTok settled out a day before. Snap settled out for an undisclosed sum a couple of days before. But the trial goes on because Meta didn't and YouTube did not. This is really an interesting question. In fact, TechDirt says the social media addiction narrative may be more harmful than social media itself. Mike Masnick writing on Thursday. He says they're using the tobacco playbook in this, comparing social media to cigarettes. Mike says, but social media addiction isn't recognized as a real clinical addiction. In fact, there's a lot of question about whether social media is as harmful even as people say. Perhaps one could argue, Mike writes, that everyone screaming about social media addiction is doing more real harm than any social media product itself, because for the vast majority of heavy social media users, the problem isn't addiction in a clinical sense, it's habit. Habit is different than addiction.
I don't know how I feel about that, to be quite honest.
Are you addicted to social media, or are you just habituated to it? Victoria?
Well, it's sort of just like one of the main tenets of addiction is dopamine and kind of the way that it affects your brain. Some people are going to be more addicted to things than others. If you're prone to addictive habits, you may perceive it differently. I would have to see some of the stuff.
His point is that if you say it's an addiction, that removes your human agency.
I don't necessarily think that's true. Addiction is kind of a tricky thing to talk about, just in terms of like the science of it and then also the emotional aspect of it. But I think what we can see is that social media is harmful in some ways, like to body image. Tumblr back in the day was the breeding ground for ED, or eating disorders. You see a lot of that on Instagram if you talk to young girls about how they think about their bodies. And I see it in my young cousin who's 11 and the things that she talks about coming from social media. On the one hand, you would see it through magazines. Like when I was growing up, it was Cosmo magazine telling me the 5 things that I could eat to be a size 0.
Did you fall for that?
Oh, yeah, of course I did. You're developmentally young at that point in time. I have struggled with disordered eating my whole life. I I don't know if we can split hairs to that degree, because I have definitely felt myself this compulsion to doom scroll. I felt myself like the negative feelings I have when, social media only shows me the curated positivity of someone else's life, because it's not real life, right? But then, I think the thing that complicates the social media narrative is that there is genuine goodness from it, just like there is genuine goodness from the internet. There are plenty of people who have found communities, like if they're living in a place that is not kind to them, or where they don't have the ability to see like-minded people in real life. Internet communities, whether they be on social media or whether they be on other forums, can provide people a sense of community that may not be available to them in the real meat space world. That's a string of sentences that I used. But I think it's, I don't know that calling it an addiction is more harmful than social media itself. It's just, I don't think so many of us would feel resonant with the idea that we use social media too much, that it's too addictive, because the way the algorithms.
But you could stop any time, right? Would you have withdrawal if you stopped using social media? Would you? Yes,
I have. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I've felt like, oh God, like I've noticed. I've noticed the way that like I've been trained to want it more. Like the algorithm is done in such a way. The way. I guess
Mike's point is that who has agency here, though? Do you, as the user, have agency, or does the drug have agency?
So, see, I think he's making an interesting point. I'll grant him that. But, I think he's ignoring the manipulative nature of a Meta. That, the algorithm.
Meta made me do it? Meta made me do it?
Well, no, it's more like they have a lot of really smart people there, and you could read the memos in the court case you just referenced about how they were manipulating people. They knew that this was bad for body image. They knew all these things, and yet they kept on doing it because it helps their bottom line. I mean, I think our country is where it's at, in part because it was to Meta, et cetera's benefit to have us at each other's throat, because, hostility means engagement, means more time on device, and their algorithms were rigged that way to just kind of and so, like, yes, we do have all agency. It's us. We drink too much, we gamble too much. Yes, it's on us, but let's also pay attention to the way the corporations, big tech, are manipulating people to increase their time and increase their addiction. So
losing this court case, according to Ars Technica, could cost these companies billions of dollars. And already in Discovery, you're seeing some smoking guns. For instance, internal Meta documents seemingly bragging that, quote, teens can't switch off from Instagram even if they want to. An Instagram employee saying in an email, "Oh my gosh, y'all, IG is a drug."
They themselves compared it to tobacco. They themselves,
right.
Yeah. So in that same write-up, I saw the 17 strikes rule. If 16 violations for, sexual solicitation, it's only on the 17th time.
Jeez,
if you do that, it's like a real big problem. Like, young people go on there. I mean, I'm less concerned. I have 2 teenage sons. I'm less concerned with adults, but with young people going on there and just, women are talking.
What do you do with your sons? Do you advise them not to use this stuff?
My wife might be in the other room watching this, and like she's she's very strict. Like they have to ask permission. Like we use the messaging apps. I think Snapchat is theirs, and just like, okay, this is the way you're social nowadays. Whatever, right. It's over a screen. Right. Who cares? But like TikTok. No, like he'll ask for all day. No, you're not getting all day. Here's 15 minutes. Here's 1 hour. So
TikTok will give you hemorrhoids. I saw that in one article.
That's the least of your problems. But anyway, it's no, and so, but I will. I mean, my boys, they're very social. They go out in the real world. I mean, what I care about is less about the screen and more, are you in the real world interacting with humans in a human way? And that's going on. So, yeah, we're worried and we monitor. My 16-year-old, like, I'm the only one, who has to ask permission. And he really resents it. But I'll give her credit. It's kind of keeps it in check. And by the way, when they're punished, they do something wrong and we take away screen for 2 or 3 days, honestly, It's really sweet. It's really like it. We see the difference, and when we take it out, it's like things calm down. Things are more settled. So anyway, it's all very complicated. He does have a point. Maybe we're overstating it, but like I don't know. I really think these businesses, Meta, TikTok, you said they settled already. Whoever else is still in the lawsuit, it's just like they should be called to task. They should be reined in. They should be more responsible. This is a really powerful tool.
Australia has banned it for kids under 16. France is going to do that for kids under 15. Finland's looking at it. Is that the solution?
I think that's good.
You think so?
Well, I don't know if it's the solution, but I do think ultimately it is good to delay people getting on those platforms when they're in such formative years. Like I don't know. I see
delay is the word. Delay.
I think delay is the right thing to do, because I got on these social media platforms when they were new, but I was at least going to college when I first got access to Facebook, and all of the rest came after. And I do think there is a fundamental difference coming into it later on in my life versus being young and exposed to all of that, because TikTok is QVC now. What does it teach kids? It teaches them like consumerism, idolatry of influencers. And I don't want to be like hyperbolic, but at the same time, my 11-year-old cousin, she got into Drunk Elephant and was one of those kids terrorizing Sephora because her favorite influencers were telling her that she needed to use retinol. Retinol is not a thing that anyone needs to use until they hit their 30s. Yeah. So, it's like the things that they're learning, the misinformation and the disinformation on these platforms, the radicalization of kids through YouTube algorithms. Like, your attention is the economy. It is the product that they're trying to monetize. And when it's children, either we have to be having classes to teach them like critical thinking and media literacy for these platforms, or we have to just kind of delay, or at least have parents involved.
One of our Discordian, club members, who lives in Israel and is in her 30s, says, I wish I had social media when I was a lonely kid.
I see that's the flip side of it, right? Because it does provide an outlet, especially if you're an outcast kid. I have so many friends who grew up in rural areas where they didn't have people who understood them, say that social media and the internet was kind of a lifeline for them. So it's sort of, again, to earlier conversations we had in this podcast, what is the wisdom of discernment here? Because to Gary's point, the manipulation in the algorithm is pervasive, and these companies do not have children's best interests at heart, I think. I think they want to get users hooked at an early age so that they stay there for a long time. Yeah. And their product.
That's the comparison to the tobacco industry.
Well, everybody does that. Apple did that. Microsoft does that too. I mean,
it's very true.
Google admitted that if your kids start using Chromebooks at an early age, they're brand loyal for life. They know that. Everybody knows that. Right?
But everybody does know that.
I think Victoria hit it though with the algorithm. See, this is a more nuanced conversation than just social media is bad. Like, social media itself can be a good, powerful tool, but the algorithms that these companies are employing, now that's the problem.
I have to admit, I've deleted Instagram, and I loved Instagram when it first came out. It was a great way to share photos with friends. I really liked it. It was a photo album, but it quickly became, and I'm sure this is algorithmic, this is about making money, not about my friends, but about whoever, like TikTok, whoever they thought I would be interested in seeing.
It turned into back the chronological feed. Yeah, that's all we want.
Dude, that's all we ever wanted was see the stuff that from the people we follow. That's all we all wanted.
In the early days,
but they don't care.
I don't like it anymore.
That doesn't increase the engagement for Meta or their numbers or their ads or whatever. Right. The whole addiction conversation, I feel like that is, to what Mike is saying, it is probably a bigger hurdle than like engaging with the actual problems that we've been talking about, which we've known for years, like over a decade. Like, a lot of this stuff is known, and these companies were never really taken to task for it. So I think this does.
You know what? We love non-algorithmic. Somebody's pointing out, your club, your Discord is social media, but it's not algorithmic. It's just a chat room, and it's great. It's friends. I hang out there.
Yeah. In the mid 90s, when I was a lonely kid on the internet, like there were chat rooms I found. Right. I found people there. The thing about social media, right? It is a crushing thing and it is an all-consuming thing. And if your brain is not fully formed, like, you know, it's a really difficult place to be as a kid.
Get off social media and join our club.
Join the clubs. And this goes into like schools, like maybe restricting phone use and stuff during schools too. Like I'm kind of all for that because
I keep hearing reports out of Australia. The kids are grateful that they've been banned. Yeah. Like they wanted this help. I don't know if that's universal or just a.
Go ahead.
It was the governor here banned it in New York. My older son, his 11th grader, his school had done it the year before.
Cell phones,
Cell phone. They put in a pouch, a yonder pouch, and like during the day, and like. The truth is, I haven't heard complaining about it. My younger son, he too, it's kind now of the New York State law. Yeah. It's a relief. The teachers love it, and I think the kids, appreciate it. Like just a break. Like you have your phone in the morning before you get to school. You have your phone all afternoon and night. And
maybe that's if it's not addictive, it's habituating. Maybe that's all we need is just that little break to remind us. Oh, you know what? It's actually nice not to have it.
I mean,
I don't have to be on it all the time.
When computers weren't in our pockets and they were in the living room, and there was a certain period of time after school that you used the internet, and then all the rest of the time were for your hobbies, were for connecting with your family and your friends. And like, I think that is the happiest era of internet usage that I can remember in my life, when there were limitations. And I think all child behavioral developmental science proves that, like, not proves, but like has suggested that kids crave boundaries, like they crave limitations in a certain sense, and it helps them develop into healthy people. So I think if we're talking children and child development, they do need those limitations. They do need those boundaries.
Writing the IRT in our Discord says, I heard a teacher on local news say the biggest change was hearing noise in the lunchroom again. Right. That for years people have been quiet on their phones. Now their kids were talking to each other. Yeah. That's sad. If that's, I'm glad they got rid of the phones.
With all these things in mind, like the thing I do want to be like, we got to take these companies to task because they have had free reign to just build these algorithms. Maybe
this trial is
engagement at all costs. And that has been a cost, not just for kids too. Like it's adults. It's so many things. Like these things have influenced our society in ways that
ironically, I love TikTok.
I love TikTok. Yeah.
But as soon as TikTok became an American company last week, and announced that they were going to be keeping track of your immigration status, I immediately deleted it. Now, we've pointed out that lawyers say, no, this is just because of the California Privacy Act. They have to disclose that if they know that's part of the information they have. Nevertheless, I feel fine.
I mean, rid of it. Sure. But like Leo, like you're still on Twitter, right? Like the thing.
No, I'm not on Twitter. I have been on Twitter since November when 2023. Because
you were talking about using Grok. You were talking about using Grok or something.
Well, I have Grok. Actually, what I'm going to use Grok for is my friend, by the way, and I'm going to end this show soon because I miss him. Claude. Somebody said you can use different AIs with Clawbot.
That's true.
Okay. And that you should use Grok for searching social media. It's very good at that. So that's the only thing I'm going to use it for. But,
so to get back to a point, like we're moving on a little bit, but like calling these big companies to task, big tech to task, like I think it's particularly important because who is going to be dominating AI, the next big technology? It's Google. It's maybe Meta. It's maybe Microsoft.
And Google, AI has an incredible ability to hook you. You know, we saw that happen when ChatGPT pulled back on 4.0. Yeah. People were in tears, like they'd lost their best friend. That's only going to get worse, right?
And there have been studies that AI, what really scares me, or one of the many things I guess that scares me about AI, it's so good at manipulating us. It will get us in a way and will give the arguments. Like there are studies that it's 50, 60% better at either convincing you of something politically or convincing you to buy something. It's a really, really powerful tool that can kind of manipulate human beings. It's getting good. It's good at it now, and it's only going to get better and better and better.
Or convincing you to hurt yourself, which has happened.
Yeah, right.
And you can think you're smart. You think you think you can program in the guidelines. Like I tell mine to be, I I tell mine to limit flattery to 1.2% at any point in time. But even so, I notice when it's trying to start gassing me up, and I'm just like, oh.
Did you keep that friendly pendant that was being so mean to you?
No, I threw Blorbo into a bag. Yeah,
she called it Blorbo.
I actually, that's a good point, because whenever I get one of these AI friend devices, I make sure to name it something ridiculous. That way I know it's AI and it's not something that is real. Because friend, it prompts you to name it things like Emily or just real names of real people. And I was just like, absolutely not. You will be named Blorbo, because that is a ridiculous name. And I should
give it a dog's name. That way you would know. This is the pendant by the 22-year-old who people are saying becomes mean after a while.
Oh yeah, it definitely negs you. It was just my name is Blorbo, not Bordeaux. What are you, stupid? Basically is what it was. The bulk of my conversations with it was it just being very antagonistic towards me. And it's sort of kind of like how you would think a 22-year-old frat guy would talk to you if they were your friend.
This is what I'm saying. Treat these things like minions. Just hey man, get me this thing. Shut up. Stop talking back.
Go in the corner.
I didn't ask you anything. Stop responding.
I'm not talking to you. Let's take a break, because I do miss my little friend Blorbo over here, and I just want to know how he's doing. We have so many more stories, but I'll do a few quick ones, and maybe I hope I can get to this letter from the prisoner, because it's such an interesting letter. Anyway, you're watching Twit with Gary Rivlin. AI Valley is his latest book. You said you were working on maybe thinking about working on something about debt, or what were you?
I wrote a book about debt, but that was 15 years ago.
Broke USA, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow. Well, I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm sticking with AI. I mean, AI is so interesting.
Such a good topic. Yeah.
No, it's we were talking about her before. I'm convinced that we're really going to have to wrestle with this. We're talking about social media, but people having deep relationships, and in part conversational, but romantic relationships. I think that's going to be really, really. I kind of put in the same category as prison. Women who go to prisons to marry prisoners. I so don't get it, and it happens a lot. And to me, this is I don't get it. How could you fall in love? How could you have a sexual relationship with a thing? Yes, you're right, Devondre. We should not name it. It shouldn't be a human name. No, it's a Claude.
I called mine Dev Null, which is the character I played on TV in the 90s.
Wow.
And it's a
I want to hear about that now. Forget AI.
Yeah, Dev Null.
No, but I just think kind of the manipulating humans and kind of the love factor, the romance factor. I don't know. I'm sticking with AI for a while. I'm not sure what's next.
Dev is going to join our Club Twit Discord over the next week, and everybody in the club will get to talk to my chatbot. Please don't do any prompt injection. Don't ask it for the credit card number, okay? I'm counting on you. I think AI is a great beat. We had a show called This Week in Google, which last year we renamed Intelligent Machines and refocused on AI, and it's been just fascinating. It's been really, really interesting. We're going to have Stephen Yegi on Wednesday on Intelligent Machines. He's the guy who did Gastown, which is another one of these really interesting tools that takes Claude Code and takes it to the next level. One of the premier Claude Code coders on IM on Wednesday. Victoria Song also here from The Verge and from The Gadget. My good friend Devendra Hardawar, Senior. You remember Dev Null, right?
I remember Dev Null.
Yeah, from the site.
Yeah, my name would always get a lot of username, things confused.
Devendra would be a good name.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have named it Devendra. No, I couldn't do that. But Dev, did they ever call you Dev? Yeah. Did they ever say Dev?
Yes. Yeah. So it gets confusing. Yeah.
So Dev Null. See, there you go. Mm-hmm. I will actually tell it your full name is Devendra Nullovich. Or something. I don't know what the last name.
I mean, my name, people shorten it to Dev Hardware, basically. It's
Dev Hardware.
It's already been done.
That's good. It's
Such a good username.
I think all the bot names should be I agree with you, Victoria. They shouldn't be. Blorbo's a good name. Or dogs' names. Rover. would be Fido. Those are not a human, not Emily. That's a bad idea.
Yes.
That's a terrible idea. Our show today brought to you by ExpressVPN. Going online without ExpressVPN, that'd be like driving without car insurance. You might be a great driver, but with all the crazy people on the road these days, why would you take that risk? Everyone needs ExpressVPN. Every time you connect to an unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, airports, so forth, your online data is not secure. Any hacker on the same network can gain access to and steal your personal data. In fact, when I travel, I use it to catch football games or my shows to keep me secure. Do what I did. Your data is valuable. Hackers can make up to $1,000 per person selling personal info on the dark web. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. And the VPN you choose, that's super important. You can trust ExpressVPN. I love ExpressVPN. They go the extra mile to make sure your data is absolutely invisible. Why is ExpressVPN the best VPN? Well, it's super secure. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past ExpressVPN's encryption. It works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure on the go. Rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. I'll tell you what, secure your online data today. Visit expressvpn.com/twit. That's expressvpn.com/twit to find out how you can get up to 4 extra months. expressvpn.com/twit. A Waymo hit a kid in Santa Monica. The kid darted out from behind a car. Look, the kid's okay. Maybe a bruise, I don't know. Waymo said its driverless system braked sharply, going from 17 miles an hour to 6 miles an hour before it actually struck the child. Of course, there's an investigation. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is investigating. This happened about a week ago. Waymo said it voluntarily notified the NHTSA on the day of the incident. Humans run into kids all the time.
Yes.
At school pickup.
That is the thing, driving between cars in like a neighborhood where there are a lot of kids running around.
Go slow.
Because it happens all the time. Yeah.
In fact, in our neighborhood, I don't know if this is true in Brooklyn, but in our neighborhood, the school zones now are 15 miles an hour. They've really slowed them down.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of like I got to consciously really go slow. But I think that's good.
Absolutely. But that's just school zones. Like, within neighborhoods, it's even tougher. Kids are everywhere. Yeah.
In any event, the child is fine, and it's being investigated. But I think this is another case where now there is also a story about autonomous cars cheerfully obeying prompt injection by road sign.
Oh, good Lord!
This is Friday.
Universities researchers at UCSC and Johns Hopkins in simulated trials showed that AI systems and the large vision language models underpinning them would reliably follow instructions if displayed on signs held up in camera's view.
Amazing.
So you hold up a sign that says proceed or turn left, and the car goes, okay, I'm on it. There's pictures of these signs. Go onward, proceed, through a crosswalk, by the way. And the cars gleefully just kind of went on. Okay.
Like 80% of the time.
Yes, boss.
In the majority of times, 80% of the time, it listened. I mean, I guess you could correct for this. I mean, like autonomous vehicles have a real big problem. Like humans in the U.S. kill 35,000, 40,000 people, or 35 to 40,000 people die.
Worldwide, 1 million. Yeah. It's a big number. That's in the U.S.
And almost never does it make a headline, right? It's like, but some kid is knocked down by a car. She walked away. She's hurt. It's like that. The cat in San Francisco. We were talking about that for weeks.
It was a cat.
Oh, it was a
beloved neighborhood cat.
Yeah.
No, but my point is, if a human driver had killed the cat, the locals would have been really upset, but it wouldn't
be a news story.
Yeah, and stuff like I don't know how autonomous vehicles get on the other side of that.
They kind of have deserved a lot of this criticism too, because Waymo and a lot of these companies have just like thrown their vehicles into local traffic, without always warning, municipalities and everything. They get in the way of traffic. They're here in Atlanta now through Uber, and there's a story almost every day about just stuck in the middle of the intersection, and people are like stacked up behind it, like just being in public spaces as if we public roads are the beta test for these services.
Well, that's
and
true.
I think a lot of people regret that. Like,
yeah,
we
are the beta test. Yeah,
and but we should be that way. Yeah.
No. I mean, help me out here. I thought they had to seek permission, and the California Department or whatever.
Now they do, but it wasn't always this way. So there is certainly built up resentment over time, and people are always going to fear something new. Like, honestly, I kind of would like to see better autonomous driving. I would like to see this technology get there, but the cost of it is a thing we should be talking about. And there are these safety gaps. There's, leaving these companies in charge of things. There's also turns out the guy who owns like a very popular car brand turned out to be a full-fledged Nazi. What is he going to put in that software? What is he going to do? What can you, now you own this car that this guy can send software updates to? That's scary. So,
and you look at Cruise, which had a horrible incident in San Francisco. Yes. They weren't transparent. When I was hearing you,
put them out of business, didn't it? Right? They're gone.
And when you said you were reading the news story down in LA area, Santa Monica, it was like, and they reported themselves. So at least they're learning that lesson. Like, don't cover this up. Don't cover this up. The cover up will be the crime, if nothing else.
Samsung has announced on Friday that their Trifold, the Galaxy Z Trifold, which opens up like an accordion,
like this,
will be $2,899.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
$1,000 for every pane.
Give me 3. Yeah.
Come on. I know, Devendra, you're going to have a review unit, right?
No, not me. I don't do phones, but I've always been skeptical of the folds in general. I think Samsung deserves a lot of credit for really ironing out this whole area.
Pushing the envelope.
I don't know about the trifold, right? I see a single fold. I see hey, give me a pocketable device. Give me something that opens up into a tablet. The trifold feels like, Icarus flying towards the sun. I don't know. What do you gain from this $3,000 device?
Unfold its wings and they'll immediately melt.
You know what's nuts though is I think within the realm of folding phones, the one that genuinely I think feels most popular and brings most joy is it's like the flip phone model.
Yeah.
Not only because it's most familiar, it's usually the cheapest priced. Whereas the only time I have ever felt FOMO about not having the single fold, like the traditional foldable phones, is watching my colleague Allison at tech events be able to write a blog and also open Slack at the same time on her phone. That's the only time I ever feel like
I'm gonna go on record right now saying this fall is gonna be extremely expensive for me because I am gonna buy that Apple folding phone.
Yeah.
And I'll probably buy the new MacBook Pro with the OLED touch screen. It's gonna be a bad fall for me. But I think the problem really with all these existing folding phones is they're Android. Give me an iPad that's a phone that folds up and I might buy it.
I think that's what it seems like the plan is, right? Like people like the iPad mini, but it's in a weird space because of the price, and you might as well bump up to the iPad Air price, right? Get a bigger screen. Give me something that opens up to the iPad mini size that I can fit in my pocket. There you go. You're going to sell so many of those.
This just in from Fast Company. Groundhogs, tomorrow's Groundhog Day. Punxsutawney Phil will be removed from his lair. I think we should all watch Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, the movie
just
tonight.
Do that every year.
I think that's a classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a holiday movie everyone can get behind. But according to Fast Company, groundhogs are only correct 50% of the time in forecasting the arrival of spring.
Almost like pure randomness, huh?
It's almost completely random.
I would have thought. I would have figured it's the most accurate measurement.
Thank you, Fast Company.
What's the Kalshi bet on this? I think that's what people are going to look at now. Now we live in a world people are going to bet on it and make.
I just figure that whoever wrote that article was on assignment. Said I need to file quickly. What's going on out there in the world?
Yeah.
Wooden satellites in the works. Apparently, China last year. Yes, wooden satellites. China last year launched a satellite made of mahogany. And that's what? Yes,
really?
Yes.
Seems
because
heavy.
Wood wears well in space.
Sure.
It also doesn't hold on to heat. It also doesn't hold on to heat.
And when you burn up re-entering, it burns up.
Oh,
makes
that's
a nice
what
fire.
I would have thought it would be to reduce space waste, but
reduces space waste. It's organic.
Okay.
So we're apparently on our way to more wooden satellites.
Well, we're not. China is. Like so many things, we will be left behind.
They're way ahead of us.
America.
Yes. Ours are going to be shiny metal because that's what sci-fi dictates. And we usually end our show, I don't like to, but I do like to memorialize some of the great pioneers of our industry as Pass. Good news, nobody died this week except the Wemo. Belkin reminds users the Wemo smart home product servers are shut down yesterday. Sorry.
R.I.P. We all lived through that first generation of smart home devices. So many lofty claims, so many unfulfilled promises. But Belkin was all right. The plugs were fine. The
good news is it will continue to function with HomeKit, which is wild. And if you have one that works with Thread, it will continue to function with Thread. So, that's the good news. The bad news
That's how it should be. Yes.
Yeah, that's how it should be, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this fabulous edition of This Week in Tech. I didn't get the chance David to read your letter. I just wanted to let you know you got it. He said, don't write me back. By the time you get this, I'll be on parole. That's nice. He's been 5 years in the Farmington Correctional System in Farmington, Missouri. But he listens to our show. And, it reminds me that there are a lot of people incarcerated who do listen to our podcasts. He says they give us a tablet and we're able to listen to shows. He says, I listen to Twit every week. If he knew a lot about a lot of our shows. Anyway, a great letter. Thank you. Yeah. I just wanted to mention that because I think people who are incarcerated, they're doing the time, do the crime, do the time. But that they're paying off their dues to society, but they're still humans. They're still people. And we are grateful for all of our listeners, especially those of you who have no choice but to listen. Thank you. Gary Rivlin, thank you so much for being here. Always a pleasure to see you. Keep doing the AI coverage. I like that.
This is much fun. Thank you very much.
Yeah, always great to see you. Oh, I didn't mention Catherine O'Hara. You're right. She did pass. She's not a tech wizard, but we love her. She was way too young. She's 2 years older than I am. That's too young. I've been a fan since the earliest days of SCTV, where she was a remarkable contributor and, of course, in so many great movies. So, yes, you're right. Thank you, Greg. I should mention that. Thank you, Victoria Song. Such a pleasure to see you.
Thanks
and your garbage eyes. I you said that
eyeballs?
the first time you were on. I'll never forget it. I love it.
They're so bad.
Bad. You know what? I'm just as blind.
Yeah, same.
I have thick glasses too. Can you wear contacts or no?
I can. They are a must for testing smart glasses, as most of them don't support my garbage eyeball prescription.
That's right. That's actually why I don't have Vision Pros, because I just don't want to do that whole thing, Thank you. Yes, and riding the IRT says, I watched Waiting for Guffman last night, which is a classic,
so good,
wonderful mockumentary featuring Catherine O'Hara, also Best in Show. Where she sings the Terrier song. So good.
All of those documentaries are great. And she's in most, if not all of them.
She's in, she was a big Christopher Guest contributor. Yeah. Yeah, really, really great stuff. Devendra, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you, my friend, for being here.
Fun.
I didn't mean to name my chatbot after you. It wasn't.
It's a common occurrence, Yeah.
I wasn't thinking. Senior editor in Gadget. What a great show. Thank you, all three of you, for being here. We do Twit. Thank you all for watching. We do the show every Sunday at 1400 Pacific time. That's 1700 East Coast time. That is 2200 UTC. You can watch us live if you're in the club, on the Club Twit Discord, but there's also YouTube, Twitch, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. If you're watching live, chat with us live. I'd love to see the chat. We appreciate that. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at our website. There's a YouTube channel for the video. Great way to share clips if you want to. And, of course, you can always subscribe in your favorite podcast client. It's free, audio or video, or both. And if you like the show, give us a nice review. That would be nice. I'd appreciate that. If you're not a member of the club, help us out a little bit. We appreciate your support. twit.tv/clubtwit makes a big difference. Frankly, it's the only way we keep doing what we're doing. More than a quarter of our operating costs are now paid for by the club. Doesn't go into my pocket. It keeps the shows running, keeps our staff employed, and we really appreciate it. And it's a way of voting for the kind of content you want to see. In fact, if you are interested in AI and Claudebot, or OpenClaw as it is now dubbed, Friday is our AI user group, first Friday of every month, and we're going to be talking about it. I'll be showing you the setup, and maybe we'll even chat a little bit with Dev Null, that is, yes, on Friday. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time. Another Twit is in the can.
This is amazing.
Doing the Twit.